Welcome back to episode 229 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. I'm here with Phil. I'm here with the one and only Baba Louie. And got some big news today that we're going to get into right away. Just before we do that, though, I want to make a very quick mention that anyone affected by Hurricane Milton, whether it's in its path or you've been already affected in some way at the time you're watching or listening, we just want to say our thoughts are with you. It sounds like it's pretty hairy, right, Troy, down in Florida, and well, Louis too. Your parents are kind of right in the middle.
Louis' parents are riding it out. Got the hurricane drinks, probably having fun. I will say this before you go, Louis. I did see the funniest meme where it's like Milton from Office Space, and it's like he found his red stapler, and it's just like a picture of Milton in the middle of the hurricane coming towards Florida.
That's awesome. I love it.
Your parents all right so far, Louis?
Yeah, it's just raining really, really hard. So they're just going to be a little north of it. They're just north of Orlando, so they're going to get it, but not that.
Do they have a plan, or are they just hunkering and down and waiting it out?
They're sitting there, letting it ride.
All right. Well, good luck to them and anyone else that has been affected. All right. Well, big news, I guess, here on our show.
Wait, you sound excited about this.
Yeah. It's kind of sad, I guess, in certain ways, but that's kind of why Phil's here. So Troy's got an announcement. Well, Troy, I'm just going to let you get right into it. Conch is yours.
Yeah, all right. I will get into it. I broke into the Chateau group the other night, so now I get to say it to the rest of the world. But episode 229, I couldn't make it to 230, but this will be my last episode on the Gong Show. And I was joking with Josh. It's like, I wish I had a great story. Like, me and him just got in a big old fist fight about the show. We couldn't get along. Nothing was going right. Like, Hollywood actors were on screen, were fine. Behind the scenes was a bunch of drama. But no, that's not it. It's actually, I'm starting my own competing podcast. Gong Show Cartes de Hockey. It will be me speaking all French, giving the wrong information all the time because I don't listen to our show. And I will be on mute 50% of the time. So I figured that's the best way to go. I'm just going to start a rival podcast and call it good. But no, actually, I've been thinking about this for like a month and a half. Me and Josh had to sit down. It was very, very emotional, very sad. But coming down to it, I need a change. I basically have 3 full-time jobs. If you include day job, coaching hockey at the Bantam level, coaching hockey at the high school level, and then the podcast. And basically I got to the point where something had to change. Physically, mentally, I was depleted. I was ornery. I was angry. It wasn't working out. I couldn't put all my effort into everything. And when I sat down and looked at it, coaching's my passion. It's what I love to do. It's like my number one thing. I love coaching so much. So I figured I'm going to keep doing that. I got to keep my day job. And I decided it was time to move on from the Hockey Cards Gong Show. It's super sad. I'm not saying I enjoy this, but I think it's the best thing for me right now at this time. And then looking at my schedule, even coming up for October, middle of October through February, it's like, there's just no way I can do the show. I can't go to Toronto. I will not be at Toronto. I have 3 hockeys a day, basically, while we're at Toronto, or while the Toronto Expo is going on. So that's basically what it came down to, and that's where I'm at. So I wanted to say, what was it? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So long. Thank you for all the fish. And I'm out.
It was like you said, it would be easier if there was a big fight, or this was there was animosity. There's
no animosity. We'll still be going to card shows.
No, I know we're all still friends. Like I think the listeners should know that. Like we all still have our group chat. We still have, it's just I respect it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, that's what the Chateau has confirmed. They respect my decision. They don't like it.
Yeah, better not do it in public, Troy. I'm gonna smack you.
Yeah, no kidding. Nothing but kind words. But
you're not going to be in the podcast, but you'll still be in the family.
Still
and
in
always have your
still in the hobby. Family. I'm not leaving. Yeah. I'm not like selling my collection. I'm out. I can't do this anymore. Like, look at this.
You'll be in Discord.
I got stacks of cards sitting. Whoops, here. Yeah. Stacks of cards just sitting in front of me that I got to go through. So,
and you'll still be in Discord and chatting.
You'll be in Discord.
Available. the reality is, and we don't talk about it often because it seems like self-indulgent when you say that this show is a lot of work. But I don't know, as relative newcomers, Louis and Phil, I mean, is it out of line to say this show is a lot of work?
No, it's I mean, I'm missing playoff baseball tonight because I want to. I want to be here for this. So is it a lot of work? No, it's just very consuming and it's a priority in my life. So I want it to be important and I don't know what it's taken away from something else, but it obviously has, but I'm making the room for it because I can. And Troy can't, right? Something's got to give. You explain it a very good way. And there is a lot of work.
Right.
You did explain that, I think, better, and that it's just very time consuming. And Troy, who I've been friends with for 15 years before we started this podcast or something like that, and I'll be friends for the rest of my life with. It's like, I get it. I don't like it just like anyone else. But yeah, I mean, I see your life, and it's like you were telling me the other week that there's like one day this month where your son doesn't have hockey.
Yeah. It's like one day this month where there's no hockey. It's like, and
yeah, it's high level. Like Troy is coaching high level. This isn't house league or B competitive B or junior B. I mean, not junior B is great, but these high level. Like Troy, tell us where are you coaching? Like what?
Well, so Minnetonka is the big one. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's for youth hockey. It's Bantams. It's Bantam hockey.
But you get to coach your son, and that's a very, very short period of your life. And
that's a good point. That's a good point. That was definitely in the decision too. It's like I don't want to miss these.
Yep, you don't want to miss that.
So, you can't buy back the years.
Trust me.
That ship has sailed for Louis and me. Like our kids are done.
Yeah,
I still got one.
Yeah, you got one. Yeah, I was thinking of your son, but sure, you're right. I forgot about your daughter. But you got 1 year left.
The other one.
The other
What's her name again? What did she eat today? I don't know.
I'm gonna get probably hit in the head with something next time at your house now. So that's gonna be great. I think another thing worth mentioning too is that, well, I won't speak for you, but it's not like our show's dying or anything. We just had our best month ever, and actually, in a way, this little show that we had no plan for, we just started with 2 microphones. We never knew if anyone would ever listen at all. Honestly, we were shocked when somebody who wasn't related to us listened to our show. And then we were terrified that, oh my God, would they like it? It's kind of become a monster in a good way, but it's a monster that is getting bigger and bigger and is requiring more and more time. So I'm sure that was a factor on you too, Troy.
Well, yeah, I definitely in my little note to our group chat, I was like, you know what, I am stepping back at the top, at the pinnacle. It's like it has done nothing but grow. It was the biggest month ever. I mean, I'll be honest, Josh, you've taken this show from horrible 2 mics and we didn't know what we were doing to now we're actually pretty well versed. We kind of have an idea what's going on, and
maybe
it's been it's a important piece of the hobby. And let's be honest, both of us never thought it would get here. We didn't. And so it's in good hands. I'm stepping away at a good time. It's in good hands. It will keep growing. It will keep building. So
the old episodes have a lot of charm to them, right?
Oh, sometimes they're horrible.
They have some charm. I like it.
Well, if I can say something about Troy too, when I first asked him, would he ever want to try this? I was a little surprised, Troy, that you said yes, because this is really not in your character to do something like this. Like you're not like a guy that goes out in the middle of a party and, sings and dances, right, to entertain everyone. And due to my career and kind of being in salesy types of roles before, I was a little more comfortable with public speaking. But that being said, when we first started, we were both terrified. I remember you were literally shaking. I think
I had panic attacks during the first probably 20 shows. I couldn't talk. I would stop. We had to stop all the time because I just couldn't get words out of it was horrible.
And it's amazing just for me to see how much more comfortable you've become from a public speaking perspective. And I'm sure
I did a show by myself. That was my coup de grace right there. I figured it out. I could do a show on my own, and must be I like hearing myself talk. I don't know.
Remember at the Montreal card show, Troy? You're like, Phil, don't leave my side. I was his handler for people.
Well, that's because people would talk to me in French, and I felt too bad. I wouldn't stop them.
I can fake it better, yeah.
They would keep going, and I'm like, at the end, I'm like, Anglais.
It took him 10 minutes to buy a card. I'm like, what are you trying to buy? Just tell me what you told me. I'm gone. 10 seconds. Card sold.
I have a French confession to make about this moment too. We've known this has been coming for a little bit, and so as I was preparing, in our notes I titled I was trying to well, how do I title this just to appropriately? And so for the last 2 weeks, it's been Troy says bonjour. I wanted to do a French thing, and literally until an hour ago, and then something hit me where I'm like,
isn't that hello?
The right word.
Au revoir.
What's the meaning of saying au revoir? Yeah, it's like I kind of wish I wouldn't have done that because it would have been really funny. If, people are like, Troy says welcome.
That'll really screw him up.
But he's leaving and I want to stress too again, just that you're not you're just leaving the grind that is the podcast, and too at some point, when you're on winter break or next summer, making you come back to do Troy's fun facts or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be.
What if my competing show takes over and I become number one?
Well, then you can help out the little guys at that point, Troy. And the other thing too, just to make sure that everyone knows, I guess, that the momentum of the show isn't stopping by any stretch. I mean, we're in our busiest and biggest period ever. We've got tons of stuff coming up in the expo. Like Troy said, we just had our best month ever, and hopefully that continues. And obviously the show will change a little bit going forward. That being said, though, kind of my plan with it, I don't know in these situations what's the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but I want to take our time, and we'll probably have a lot of guests come on and sort of maybe fill any holes that we have. And if and when we kind of add a fourth person back as to what role or capacity that would be, I think that, I'll go back again to that we've never had a plan, literally ever. In the 2.5 years, Troy, we never once had a plan. This whole show has just taken a life of its own. And I really feel that we're going to continue to do that, and that at some point it'll just make sense to all of us, and hopefully you and listener and watcher land out there too, this person probably should hang out with us on a regular basis. Kind of like with Phil and Louie, we never even talked about Phil when you started on this show. We just kind of kept asking if you wanted to come back. And in a lot of ways, I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. No plan. Plans don't work.
Yeah. What does it say? Was it Mike Tyson says no plan survives the first punch in the face?
Yeah.
Or
everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's it.
That goes out the window. And before we move on, keep it going.
No, go ahead, man.
Well, I'll just say before we move on, I gotta make sure I want to thank the listeners. Thank you for all the kind words I've ever gotten. Thanks for all the feedback, the criticism. It's all helped me get better. I'll miss some of that, but I really appreciate just all the friendships I've made. That was the big takeaway from this show. If you want to know what it was all the friendships. I have lifelong friends that I will still be in contact with from this show. And I know, Josh, you wrote this in the notes. I was trying to think of my favorite moments. And it's one, I can't remember anything on our show, but
yeah,
I always thought that first game show was kind of fun, where it was just it was so fun. And it was I was a mess. I don't think I got any right, maybe 6 right or something out of half of them. But then mailbags have always been fun. To be honest, having Billy on has been always fun when I can make it. Now Billy doesn't have to worry if I'll be on the show because I just won't be here.
Does Billy know? Did you tell Billy or no?
No,
he found out now. Okay.
Yeah, we've kept this closely guarded secret.
Surprise!
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to all the listeners. It's better than I ever could imagine, the feedback and the kind words that I've gotten.
Nice.
You're not going to be like angry YouTube commenter now, are you, on our episodes? And
I already got one for your live stream with Billy. I'm gonna throw a question in there. I already
Listen,
got
you better not sabotage anything, Troy Bear.
one.
You better not. I'm so
I had
scared
a good
about the
one. I
live
had a good
stream.
one for that one.
I'm so scared.
Great.
It'll be good. It'll be
Great.
good.
Yep. So lots to look forward to. It is sad that, well, and I just should say too that I've enjoyed doing this with you. I mean, like I said, we've been friends for a long time, and that doesn't change. But life has been super busy,
Mm-hmm.
and will continue to be busy. And this was part an opportunity for us to hang out.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I will always appreciate that part of the show. And yeah, so thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Iverson.
I
It's
know where
been
you all
fun.
live. I know where you all live. So
Yeah, you do.
even you, Phil. I know where you live. I've looked you up.
Well, we're not sure Sylvan lives in a real place. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And then
don't worry.
with
I've already told California Dave that I fully am coming to LA. Just stay at his house.
Yeah, LA's a lot nicer than Ottawa. Well, they're pretty similar these days. Actually, they're quite similar.
And honestly, I can't think of a better send off than having a great show. So
Oh,
let's
wait.
just
I got one more thing. I want to tell
Okay.
Irish Flyers collector Neil. He gave me a really nice, sent me a nice message that was really nice. So I want to say thank you to him too.
Nice. Shout out to Neil.
So did California Dave.
Sweet.
What do we call Neil? Chateau Mom? He's the mommy?
Expo Mom.
Expo Mom. That's what he is. Do we get him an apron or something?
We probably should.
Yeah, we should. We'll get him something.
Okay, let's get into the show. A couple other quick announcements before we do get started. Got some huge Rip Party news. Very, very excited about that. So you can go and I guess it's like pre-register. Well, what do you do on YouTube? You just get the notification.
Yeah, you can
on
set
Rip
up a
Party.
notification to tell you when it goes live.
Click the bell.
Right
Click
here.
the button, bell thingy.
Click the bell. Notify me. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay,
If you're
do
watching
that,
on YouTube.
please. So our Toronto Sport Card Expo event, Rip Party, just got a huge boost from one of our sponsors, Mint Inc. Not only will a few of us at Rip Party be opening some pretty cool hockey boxes on live stream, of course, Friday, November 8th, 2024, starting at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, with it 6 on the West Coast, and hopefully you can convert it wherever you are in the world. But we're also going to be opening a number of very nice hobby boxes for people in the YouTube chat as well. And we're going to be using kind of a giveaway tool to do that. Well, Mint Inc., one of our newer sponsors, has come up huge, and I mean huge.
Yep.
Here's what they're donating to be given away and opened at Rip Party. 2 boxes of 2023-24 SP Authentic.
Nice.
So maybe some Bedard Future Watch Autos. 2 boxes of 2023-24 Series 2. Who knows? Maybe we'll hit the Gold Outburst 101.
I would
That'd be-
lose my mind if you guys hit that.
Yeah, no, you're out.
I
You're
would
out. No, you're
lose my
out.
mind.
Nope.
I would drive up to Toronto, say, open the door, scream at you guys, and then leave and drive home.
Be like, Troy who?
Troy who? I don't know this Troy guy. Security.
Well, now this is. Oh, sorry.
Who is that guy?
Do your next box, and then I'll do my.
And then 2 2023-24 boxes of OPG Platinum.
When
like-
did that all happen? Holy crap.
Yeah, but
Oh,
hey, things are
Philly.
happening here, Phil. So that's like almost 2,800. That is 2,800 Canadian in boxes we're giving away. And that's just kind of the start of it. Again, we wanted real deal boxes that we're going to be opening them. So we'll give them away in the chat. We'll open them. And then if you win the box, we'll send you the hits. So I think that's pretty amazing. And I want to say huge thanks to Mint Inc. for stepping up in a big way. A big part of this whole Rip Party event is there's a number of kind of goals by it, but a big one is for us to a big thank you to people that have supported us and watched the show. And so I can't think of a better way to say thank you than to donate a whole bunch of amazing hockey card boxes to people. So again, big thanks to Johnny Amendola and the crew at Mint Inc. In addition, though, as Louis knows more than anyone here, Slab Sharks also really stepped up. They're helping us fund Rip Party, which is crazy because they're also built a studio for us at the expo. And this event, Rip Party, has, not that anyone probably necessarily cares, but has gotten very, very expensive. And It is, like I said, kind of a thank you from us. And so we literally couldn't do it without Slab Sharks. Then I was at our local LCS today, and they brought up Rip Party, and they donated a box of 2022-23 SP Authentic.
Nice.
So now we'll have
Nice.
2 boxes of 23, 24, and then 1 box of at least of 2022-23.
Yeah,
So
absolute cards or absolute sports cards. Savage, Minnesota. Thank you.
Savage, Minnesota. Again, very, very thankful to them. The late game movie guys are going to be there, and they're going to be donating tons of stuff for the movie. And we're just getting started too. My goal is to make this one of the biggest giveaways ever.
Yeah.
We'll see if I
Mhm.
eat my words or not. But hey, aim high, jump high, right?
You know another thing, if you have a house full of collectors, you start cracking open boxes and you pull a couple of Brady Kachucks or Jake Sandersons, you got a buyer. You got a buyer right away. So,
Yeah,
they'll be
there you
good.
go.
Yeah.
And those are just the giveaways. The people that are kind of on the invite list, the heat that people are bringing, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, we're seeing a lot of the cup thrown around and other kind of older retro cool boxes. I know Phil, you've been working on getting some boxes. So again, I just cannot wait for Rip Party. Louis and I have been stressed to the max trying to figure out the technology in this, and we had a little bit of a breakthrough last night. So we're riding high
Aw.
till the
Yep.
next
Good job.
till the next
guys.
curveball kind of knocks us off
I slept
knocks us off
soundly.
the horse, but we'll get back up. So that's sort of the Rip Party news. In addition, though, we're doing another live stream, and that's next week, a lot sooner. The Series 1 release day live show with Billy Celio of Upper Deck. Mint Inc. again stepped up again, and we're going to be giving away a box of 2024-25 Series 1 to people in the chat. So again, thank you to them. Should be a lot of fun. We'll be opening another box live on stream, talking a lot about the cards, getting the insight from Billy on their strategy in building the set, and have some other kind of fun stuff planned. We'll also plan to be doing probably a big Q&A. So is the most probably often question we've ever gotten, Troy, even to this day, is can you ask Billy ...
Here's your
So
chance.
everybody, here's your chance.
Here's
Just
your
ask him yourself, please. Right. And the one of the great things about Billy Celio is that he is typically very open to receptive to any question. Sometimes he can't answer everything because Upper Deck has rules around stuff like that. But very, very much looking forward to the live show on Series 1 release day, which is October 16th. And that starts at, I think it's, what does it say on there? 8 Central as well, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, 8 Central.
And then the last thing before we get started is a reminder that our show, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on the support of listeners and watchers like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce more and what we hope is better hockey card content, and then fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby. It's very easy to support us. You can do it for as little as $5 US a month. Be one of the first 199 supporters of our show, forever have that title, just like being a $199 hockey card. You also get access to our Discord server, and you can participate in events like we do, Fantasy Hockey, 5K Challenge, which we just wrapped up getting all the entries for 2024-25. So thanks to Louis for putting in tons of hours getting those all sorted out.
Those are my favorite hours.
Yep. If you want to support us, it's very easy to do. Go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. Click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. Or you go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description, whether you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube. And then finally, there's links in our Instagram and TikTok profiles there too. Guys, since our last show, we have 4 new patrons.
Nice.
We've been on a roll lately, and it's very humbling. Is the only word I can continue to think of. So DKJ Collectibles, B. Lee V, Nader 3106, and Ballo 34 all joined our out of 199 support level tier via Patreon. Thank you guys, literally from the bottom of our hearts, and you're helping to make everything we do possible.
Josh.
Yeah.
Real quick, where are we at on what's left in our founders drop?
Oh,
do you know?
Very few, very little stuff left. So if you're interested in a t-shirt, hoodie, or hat, just go ahead and message us, and we'll see what we have left available.
All the merch is gone?
Pretty much.
Wow.
Again,
yeah, you have a hat for me, though.
Yeah, we saved one for you.
Large, I hope.
The hats are their snapbacks.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. With that,
Hey, Troy, are you ready for the Gong Show? You're on mute, buddy. Still on mute, Troy.
all right, buddy, you ready with the game plan?
On today's show, we begin with round 6 of some of the worst, ugliest, bad hockey cards out there. We then try and make some hobby predictions for the NHL season. Then it's off to hobby news. And then next, we are joined by Gene MacLeod to discuss the new release of Metal Universe Hockey. Then we take a look at the recently released 24-25 Series 1 checklist, but specifically the Young Guns. We're going to look at the Young Guns, see all the heat that they're bringing. We then take a look at some of our favorite hockey cards in the current Fanatics Collect weekly auction, and we end the show with any personal pickups. Okay, fellas, it is part 6 of our series where we look at some of the worst /bad/ugly hockey cards in existence. This time, I will be looking at some cards that have been sent to us by users that now here's the sad thing. I know we got a lot more, but I'm an idiot. And when I see someone send something in, I don't write it down immediately or where it was. I'll go, I'll remember that. And now when I went back to look, I could find like only a couple of them. So I apologize. That's on me.
Have you learned nothing on this show?
I know,
You
no
remember
kidding.
literally zero.
That's why. No, that's really why I'm leaving, because I couldn't find all the cards.
Yeah, you have two guys that are like, you know what, Troy, you can leave.
I forgot to mention my joke. My joke was, I would like to take this time and announce when you're doing Rip Party, I'm going to do my competing Rip Party, which is going to be opening Pro Set Superstar Music cards, 1989 Topps Batman cards, and some other crap set that I can think of. Oh, so sad.
It'll be a live event at your house, and you'll force
maybe
the kids to
me,
watch it.
one viewer, me watching myself. Okay, so these are some that viewers have sent us, and Baba Louise have sent us, and then, but again, I know people sent a lot more in, and I apologize because I totally dropped the ball on that. All right, first 2 cards were submitted by Discord user Tundra_SC, but both are absolute beauties for this segment. So here we go. We have a 1991 Pinnacle, number 368, Ray Bork. And then we also have the same year, card number 367, John Van Beesbrook. These are the good guys cards. That's what these are called on the back. If you look at the back.
Good guys cards?
Good guy. Pinnacle good guy. That's what it says right there. So now don't get us started. We can't get on Bork because every time we talk about Bork, we get yelled at. Because we always bring up anecdotal evidence that we were never around for.
Such a nice guy. Why would they do that to him on a hockey card?
Beezer looks like a card collector too. You know,
Does he
collector.
look
Too? Yeah, he looks like him.
Yeah, these cards, I don't know what it is. Like, and when I think of early 90s hockey, that's what I think about. I think about good guys. I don't think about the toughness, the physicality, the fighting. I think about really good guys. I guess they were going for a little bit of a change. The pictures are just on the front are just, they don't do it. They're odd. I'm not a fan of the tuxedo look. And I'm not a fan of, so they're wearing the white, whatever, tux tie, the shirt. Let's not make the jacket the same exact color as the background, because it looks like they're just a weird head in some kind of like, it almost looks like, what's that thing, the thing that clamps down when you're in the stocks? You're in the stocks at prison. It kind of looks like they're in that, but they have this flower here. So I know there's a coat, but it's horrible. It blends in perfectly with the background and looks just awful.
Well,
it's a blackjack. Go ahead.
It's the same tux. It's just the face is different, right?
Yeah.
It's a jacket over a straight jacket.
Yeah, maybe it could be. They're bad cards. They look odd. They're bad. Yeah, they're bad. These aren't the only ones. There's other ones in the set. They're all bad. They all look weird. So go check them out.
Here's why illustrating is really hard. That whoever drew these obviously has artistic talent.
Yeah.
But like you said, Troy, it's like missing that final 10% to make it not look weird.
Yeah.
It just looks like a person who's talented at drawing needs to take like maybe 2 more classes.
Yeah.
To kind of get there.
Well, why is Beezer's chin over here?
You know why? Because this reeks of a company in the early 80s saying, "Oh my God, there's a boom out there. Let's jump on it." Yep, those proofs look good. The 91 Pinnacle,
Could
yeah,
be.
they're just capitalizing, right?
He's chewing
Could
on
be.
his lip. He's chewing
Yeah,
on
he
his
is.
lip.
He's
That's
got
why
some
it's
dip.
moving.
It's got some dip in there.
Mm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, terrible cards, but you can get them for cheap if you want them. Okay, here we go. Next one. This might upset some people, I wonder. Here we go. We got 1991-92. This is again from Tundra SC. Pro Set Platinum. James Belushi. Celebrity Captain's card.
It's a great card.
It's I would say it's a great card, but why would you have Jim Belushi looking like he is so annoyed that he has to be taking this picture? He's like, okay, I'll just stand here with my wood
Yeah.
Sherwood stick.
Yeah, that's a good
I'll-
point. He doesn't
I'll
look
throw my
happy.
arm. He looks like he's just so bored. And does anyone know anything about James Belushi? Is he
Mr. Destiny.
Well, he was in K9. That was where I know him.
Great
And
movie, yeah.
Saturday Night Live. But I don't know. I thought it was a good suggestion. But if you remember these celebrity captain cards, the most famous one is this one, probably. Fred
Aw.
Rogers. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, Pittsburgh Penguins. And then I was looking through the set and I just started cracking up because if you know this guy's scandal history,
Oh, get the stockings, right?
and really when you zoom in on him, look at him, he's like, hey, remember when I got in trouble?
Czar of the Telestrator, right? Marv Albert.
Yeah, but he's okay now. If that happened now, he'd be celebrated.
I don't know.
Different times, right?
He
Different
got in
times.
trouble. It was not good. Go if you want to know the story, go read it. Not good.
No.
But yeah, these I don't know celebrity cards. This is kind of reminds me a little bit of when like we were talking about the cup and they put in like Tiger Woods cards. They put these cards in. Now this is back in the early '90s pro sets. It's like you weren't expecting huge hits, but I always wonder if people got these and they're like, next, move on.
Was James Belushi on Saturday Night Live? Or
They both
his
were.
brother?
Yeah, they both were.
They both were.
His brother was on a mission from God, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do we
brothers.
stand on James? Did he just kind of pretty effectively ride the coattails of his brother, or do we think he's talent to stand out on his own?
Yeah, Phil.
He had a good sitcom. He was funny. I
Yeah.
think he liked his extracurricular activities a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Obviously more so his brother, but
Yeah.
What was his sitcom?
Jim?
Yeah, I don't know either one.
Yeah, it was called
You had
Jim.
one.
It was called Jim. Yeah.
Okay, I know that one.
He's
Never
like a
watched it,
poor
but I
man's
know it.
Tim Allen, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should try TV sometime.
Yeah, I don't
But
watch.
I think I
much
misspoke.
TV.
His brother was John, obviously.
Or John Belushi, yeah.
Yeah.
James, Jim, John, whatever. All the same.
Too many J's. Come on.
Yeah, too many J's.
You're
Okay.
Josh. You're a J.
Okay, next one. Next one, Baba Louie. This is you.
Oh, what do I got?
This is your card.
So bad.
So this one, Baba Louie sent me, 1997.
Oh.
So it's Donruss, but it's a Donruss Studio #2. This falls into what I would like to call the glamour shot era or the glamour shot kind of card. I'm not exactly sure what they're going for with the trophy. I was thinking, is the Dominator thinking lovely about his helmet? Is he thinking, what am I doing here? Who knows? It's just a really awkward card. And what's really awkward, doesn't his hand look like it's about to snap off? I mean, it looks like it's bent in a very uncomfortable position. And it's out of, well, this is TCDB pictures, so they're always garbage, but usually garbage. But yeah, this one, I don't think it worked. I don't know what they're going for. Maybe if you had a trophy and you could hug the trophy, but your helmet, okay.
I know
You would
gotta-
know better than anyone, but that helmet probably doesn't smell the greatest, right?
Oh no, not at all. Well, maybe pros, they're smart. They probably got guys that hang them up, dry them out. Where my son leaves in either the garage or the car, and if it's left in my wife's car, boy, are we all going to hear about it because goalie equipment stinks. And you know, I think that's why she pushes me to buy new stuff so much, just because gets rid of the old smell. But yeah, so this card definitely in the all-time. A lot of people have talked about this card. It's kind of just
Is that the main, like, is that when those dumb glamour shots were super big? Is that about the time?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
90s.
get that at
for
every mall in
sure.
America.
Right.
Yeah, and like
I
high
just
school
don't.
seniors would get their pictures. Some would go to Glamour Shots to get their senior pictures in America. I don't know about Canada.
My-
You
You'd
talked
have
about
to
this before. You guys had Sears or something, right? Or Zellers.
Sears, yeah, the Sears
Zellers.
portraits. They're great with
Sears
the laser
portraits.
beams in the back. I'll post mine on my Instagram later. You guys can see. I was very handsome young man.
I just
In
don't
Canada,
understand how you do that. How do you agree to? Yeah,
Well,
this is cool. I'll take that picture.
There's a whole set of these. Go look at them. There's a whole
NH
bunch of
the
beauties out there.
NHLPA has a strong pull, I think.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Question, but back to your Fred Rogers. So, Mr. Rogers'
Yeah, Mr.
neighborhood. Do you
Rogers.
guys know who Mr. Dressup is?
What?
No.
You don't know who Mr. Dressup would whoop Fred Rogers' butt. That's all I gotta say.
What about
Mr.
Captain Kangaroo?
No, forget Captain Kangaroo. Let's get one point here. Mr. Dressup is our Fred Rogers.
Okay.
They're both great. They're both great, but Mr. Dressup is incredible. Or was, I should say. People listening know what's up. They're like, yes, Phil, keep going.
No, they're not.
Well,
Yeah,
Phil, someone
absolutely
said,
You be
Nope.
quiet, Louis.
Phil, the comments, someone said you are not the ambassador for Canada.
Oh, because I don't watch television? This guy thinks I'm not a patriot because I don't watch television. Okay, then I'm sorry. You win. You're a better Canadian than me because you sit in front of the TV and eat your pizza, and I don't. I apologize. I'll go to my boxing gym. You watch your television. Good
Well,
patriot.
I gotta admit, this is like a big NHL docu-series, and when you said nobody in Canada's heard of it,
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Kind of
I
did.
said my friends
No.
and I, who are hard workers, we wake up, we go to work, and then we go to bed when we're tired, and then we have podcasts at
You're
night.
digging a hole, though, because now you just said everyone that watches this is not a
remember,
hard
Phil,
worker.
our shows are recorded. You're doing revisionist history, and people can just go back and listen.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I made a disclaimer a long time ago. I don't listen to what I say because I don't remember either.
Yeah,
I'm
so
telling
did
you-
we. Yeah, we had to make one too. Don't
Yeah,
forget
well,
that.
that's legality reason. I'm telling you, I meant to say my friends and I don't know. Listen, leave me alone. I don't know what a TV show is. It's not my fault. Get out of here. Let's
And
move
who
on.
are these friends? Are they real? Do they exist? Are
Oh,
they-
I don't want to talk about them.
All right, last card. We gotta get through this one. 1980, OPG, Rick Vive. This one is very famous in the airbrush, category. Now, I said OPG. I'm actually showing the tops, but we'll get to that. Obviously, the whole card, besides Vive's face and maybe even part of his face, is airbrushed. But I think this part here is actually his picture. But now, what is crazy is the jersey just looks odd, but I can live with that. It's an airbrush jersey, whatever. The hair. That is not
Yes.
Rick Vive's hair. That is like a huge mop top they put on top of him. And I was trying to find why or what was going on. Because if you look at pictures of Rick Vive from those days, this isn't his hair. So I don't know what they were doing. But then I saw Josh Puck Junk, Sal Berry, who we were on a panel with a long time ago, he actually had a theory that he's got a Vancouver helmet on because I think this was when he got traded to Toronto.
Yeah,
That he has a Vancouver helmet on, and they painted the hair over the helmet,
totally.
over the yellow helmet.
Yeah,
And it
you're
actually
right.
makes a lot of sense. I mean, sure, that makes better than my theory or any theory I
He looks like my Aunt Helen. That's the Aunt Helen haircut.
yeah. And
we
then,
got to get Phil a
You got
Rick
her number?
Vive wig for the expo so you can.
I'm down.
yeah, no
Right.
kidding. but
Dress
yeah,
me up.
that's
I'll wear whatever. I'll put a
I
dress
think it's
on.
a
I don't care.
good theory, but yeah, this helmet or this helmet hair, or whatever this thing is supposed to be. And then I know this is the tops version because you can see how the name,
Scratch off.
it's a scratch off. And that's what they did with the tops. You had to scratch off to see the name because everyone likes to do that to see who the name
They even did him dirty and gave him a colic with his fake hair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they did right on the top. They did one of their best, the most loved players of all time. Pretty dirty on this card.
Yeah, this is a very famous bad card.
I put a
So-
feather in his cap.
Yep, put a fat in his cap. So that's all we got for today's episode. But segment 6 in the books, or part 6 for
Okay.
bad cards.
Okay. We're going to move on and do some 2024-25 hobby predictions. So the season just underway. Anyway, now, do people in Canada watch hockey games, Phil, or no? Do we not do that?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I watch 2 hockey games at once sometimes.
Okay, just got to make sure, right? Because I don't know.
Listen,
if you
when
say,
it comes
"None
to
of my friends
movies,
watch hockey."
movies, I'll mop the floor with anybody listening. Okay, I'm up there. When it comes to television programs, I might be a little behind.
Louis, you just fumbled the touchdown.
That was me. That was me.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I had
Well, I'm gonna blame
removed
Louis.
I removed myself from stage, but I wanted to make sure he could put stuff on stage. So I was
I don't know what's happening.
Nobody does. Nobody does. So the season's underway. We did another one of our famous series of hobby polls.
It's the best.
Boom, boom.
Oh, hold on. I gotta fix it though. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's in the wrong one. It's wrong. That's all right. That's all right. And we asked the hobby a bunch of NHL and hobby related questions around players, their potential achievements, and what's going to happen in the hobby market. And we in the polls, we gave you 3 options of players to choose from, plus a 4th option of somebody else, because Instagram, when you do a poll through them, it's somewhat limiting, where you only have 4 total options. I actually wanted to have 4 players and a 5th option, so I was a little bummed out about that. And because Phil and Troy are here, and we always make them compete to see who's the nicer person, we're going to let them compete again. So we're going to show the questions. Then Troy and Phil are each going to guess what they think or how they think the hobby responded.
Yep.
And then beyond that, then they're going to give their own opinion. And then we'll see at the end of 8 questions who is the winner. Now, do we remember who won last time you guys competed?
I did. Phil won.
Phil did.
Okay.
And the time before that, I'm 2-0.
Oh,
No, I won 1, I thought. 1 and 1. I
Fine, 1-1.
You do that thing, Phil, that as long as you say something with a lot of confidence and authority, people always assume
You mean gaslighting?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about, Troy? Okay, here we go.
Right. The first question we asked via our Instagram story poll was this: who will be the Rocket Richard winner this season?
Okay.
The options. Wait. I gotta give you the options. I'm sorry. The options are Austin Matthews, David Pastrnak, Connor McDavid, or somebody else.
My answer.
I'm going McDavid because he's got something to prove.
Ooh, I'm going Austin Matthews.
You
I think McDavid's more an assist guy now, team player, trying to get them cups.
That's a very good decision.
And I didn't cheat, but I was looking up stats on Matthews just to because my first thought was Matthews, but then I looked. He's averaged 60 goals for the last 5 seasons.
All right, we know. Everybody knows. We get it.
He's still young. Young.
All right. So what are your final answers, Phil?
Connor McDavid.
Mustache.
Troy?
Mustache.
Okay. Well, the hobby has spoken.
Oh, hobby's wrong.
54% say Austin Matthews. There we go.
Yeah, whatever.
Troy coming out of the gate strong. Right there. 1-0. Now we're on to question 2. The Hart Trophy winner. Who will win the Hart Trophy? Will it be Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Jack Hughes, or somebody else? We'll go with you, Phil, first because you were the loser.
You're pulling up the rear, buddy.
Connor McDavid. I'm hedging my bet.
No.
Okay. What do you say, Troy?
Connor McDavid.
All right. Well, the hobby results are in. And
nice.
Yeah, overwhelming. 62% went with Connor McDavid, 10% Nathan McKinnon, 9% Jack Hughes, and 18% somebody else. Oh, we should go back. I forgot to read the percentages for people listening on the first one, Louis. Can you go back to the Rocket Richard? So that at Austin Matthews, 54%, Pasta only 7%, McDavid 21%, and somebody else 18%. All right, so we're through 2. It's still 1-0 Troy. Now we're going to the Norris Trophy. So who's going to win the Norris Trophy? Cale Makar, defending Norris winner Quinn Hughes, or Roman Josi, or somebody else? Still start with you, Phil.
Somebody else.
I say Quinn Hughes, back to back, baby.
Oh, no way. You're so
Back to
wrong.
back.
You're so
Back to
wrong.
back.
No one's
Back to
agreeing
back.
with Troy.
Back to
Okay,
back.
Phil, when you say somebody else, who do you think? Don't say Jake Sanders.
No. I just don't think those boys have it.
Adam Fox.
The Rangers would have to have an amazing year, and they might.
Yeah.
I like Fox a lot. I really do. You gonna show the results?
Yeah. I
Okay.
thought you were going to say something.
Yeah,
well,
we're
let's
waiting
see what
for
the
you.
hobby said.
Hobby's the same with car. Yeah.
Makar, nobody gets a point. Makar, 45%. Quinn Hughes, 23%. Roman Yossi, 7%. And somebody else, 25%. Now, again, these polls are not like representative of the entire hobby, but we did get something like 4,000 total votes. So
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
it's a decent,
Yeah.
it's a decent mix.
The Kings have a big year. I mean, Byfield at the end of the last year, I mean, that's a massive jump to Norris, but he's really developing well. He looks really good. I'd love to hear Dave's opinion on him more.
No, it can't be Byfield. He's a forward.
Well, you just had your Troy Kucherov moment there.
Oh
My God, yes, I did. Oh my God, I'm the new. Well, there's your send off, Troy.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, Quentin. I'm so happy. Oh, so embarrassing. Anyways, okay, let's
Phil
go.
doesn't know about hockey TV or that Byfield doesn't play defense. We're learning a lot today. Okay, we're going to go on to Vezina Trophy. Who's going to be this year's Vezina Trophy winner?
These are goalies, Phil. Goalies.
Yeah, thank you. You know what's worse? That's the second time I've made a Byfield defensive thing in like 2 weeks. Second time. Oh,
Embarrassing.
I know.
Andrei Vasilevsky, Igor Shesterkin, Jake Ottinger, or somebody else. So, no, wait, who got? Oh, Troy, you got Makar right, correct?
Nope.
No, he
he's
said
going
Quinn
back
Hughes. He was way wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah. So we're still on Phil. Phil's still going first. Is it Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, Ottinger, or somebody else to win the Vezina Trophy in 2024-25?
I'm going Ottinger. I like him.
I'm going Shesterkin because he is going to be ticked off and playing for. Well, we'll get to it in hobby news. He better play. He better win a Vezina after what he did. So
yeah. All right, Lou. Let's see what the hobby said. Overwhelmingly,
Ooh,
somebody
someone
else.
Nice.
Wow.
45%, followed by Shesterkin at 30%, Ottinger at 21%.
It's not a bad bet on somebody else because goalie's so
Cat just 5%. I kind of like the somebody else little wrinkle on this because then you got to try to figure out, well, of the somebody else, who's the most likely person? Do you think it'd be like Hellebuck?
Saros, Hellebuck.
Swayman, maybe?
Not Askarov, I'll
No.
tell you that much.
Yeah.
No, not Askarov. No. Oh, low blow, Troy. Low blow. Shesterkin's pretty awesome. He's pretty awesome. I mean,
I'd have had Markstrom on this list. Devils all the way this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ottawa's got the best goalie that was available this year.
So it's still 1-0 Troy. You guys are not vibing with the rest of the hobby here. That's for sure. We're going to move on to the Calder Trophy winner. So I have 3 candidates and somebody else. I have Logan Stankoven, Matvei Michkov, and Macklin Celebrini, and somebody else. Phil, we're still at you.
Oh, I'm going Celebrini all the way.
So
Okay.
I originally would have been Celebrini, but man, after I've kind of watched a lot of video, but I'm always nervous with John Tortella. Tortella? Is that how you say it? Tortella?
Tortorella.
Tortorella. I knew that I was missing. I was missing
Tortilla.
I was missing some like consonant in there. I'm going Michkov. I think that dude is going to be a stud, but I am nervous because I think Torts he'll sit him if he's not playing. Like Torts won't mess around.
Yeah.
And I worry if that will like hurt. It probably will hurt him like getting points and stuff like that. I think Torts will be good. Well, we'll see for his development, but I'll say Michkov because I really
You got all your excuses in case you're wrong.
I got them all.
Okay, good.
And I want to be around to like see if I was right.
All right. Well, the hobby spoke and commanding lead or win for Matvei Michkov. 50% of the votes.
Celebrini was almost third.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Celebrini's second with 21%. Then Logan Stankoven 14%, and somebody else 14%. I would assume like Cutter Gauthier or Lane Hudson would have been the other, most likely somebody else's, or had the majority there. So that gives Troy, Phil, a commanding 2-0 lead.
Well, maybe I'm being nice because he's leaving. It's like letting the kids win, you know?
Got 3 more left. These are a little more hobby related now.
Yeah.
Biggest hobby breakthrough. Your choices are Leo Carlson, Dylan Gunther, Adam Fantilli, or somebody else.
Are you not picking Sens on purpose because I talk about the Sens a lot? No? Oh, I really think
somebody on the Sens is going to have the biggest hobby breakthrough this year.
all right, no problem. I welcome all your trolling
go-
proudly. You guys
Go
just
with
wait
somebody
and see.
else.
Okay, somebody else. That's what I say. Somebody else.
I say somebody else too.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wonder today, if we would have done this poll today, if it'd be different, because there's been a lot of, well, I actually don't remember what the answer is, but a lot of steam on Dylan Gunther this summer, and he was pretty dang good yesterday
Yeah.
too. So,
Yep.
all right, Bobbly, let's see what the hobby said.
Okay.
Whew.
Interesting.
Barely
Somebody else nearly beats Dylan Gunther. So 31% to somebody else, 29% to Dylan Gunther, 23% to Adam Fantilli, and 17% to Leo Carlson.
Could Wyatt Johnson be this, or did he have it last year?
Yeah, he's kind of had it last year.
I was thinking about that.
Now this Gunther thing, if it continues, like I imagine, I haven't even looked, but I imagine the price is already going up. 3 months ago, we're talking like $1, $2
dollar bends. Yep.
for any of
Really?
these cards. And I think it was Bedard that said this summer, it's like, watch out for Dylan Gunther. Like he is crazy good. And he's
Did you
gonna have a huge-
scour the absolute dollar boxes to see if you could find them?
I should have. Oh, darn it. We gotta go back tomorrow. Okay. So anyone get a point there? No, right?
Nope.
So still 2-0 Troy. And there's 2 questions.
Well, we
left.
both got a
Phil.
point, but I'm still up by
Yeah.
2, basically.
Okay, Phil. Biggest hobby comeback. I have 3 candidates, then somebody else. Matty Beniers, Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, or somebody else.
Cole Caulfield.
Yeah, of those names, Caulfield for
Yeah.
sure.
Nothing. Zegras never.
The
Not
years
happening.
I got no love, I guess.
I
Zegras,
like Beniers. I think I like him.
he's going to be a solid NHL player. I don't think he's going to be a Calder of the year or Calder winner that's going to score 150.
You think he kind of played a little too good there that first?
I don't know. It was a weird year.
Excuse me. All right.
But I think he's definitely going to be a great player. Caulfield for sure.
You guys both went with Caulfield.
Is
Let's
this
see
the
what
last
hobby says.
question? Is this
No.
the
No,
last?
there's one more.
Okay. Yeah. So I go with
But
Caulfield.
I just already won, so it's weird how this works.
Yeah. There you
Cole
go.
Caulfield, you both were right. 45% of the vote, followed by Matty Beniers, 23%.
Every one of
Trevor
those was
Zegras,
from Montreal.
20%.
Yeah.
Somebody else, 13.
Is he left wing or right wing? Caulfield. He shoots right, eh? I think.
I don't even know that. We'll have to
He
look.
is. I think he's.
I
a
know
left
he's
winger.
not a center. I just didn't know if he's left.
No, he's a right winger. Shoots right.
Yeah. Okay.
Last question. Biggest hobby drop.
Oh no!
Values will tank the most.
Why you put
This
Wyatt
year.
Johnson in here?
Juraj Slavkovsky, Connor Bedard, or Wyatt Johnson? Who's going to have the biggest drop?
Oh.
Or somebody else?
I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Bedard.
No.
I'm-
Yeah. Okay. I got to be
He
strategic.
got
With
2
my hobby.
assists last night. Don't get me wrong. He got 2 assists. But what if the goals don't come? Because they're so bad. Chicago is so bad.
All the more reason he can be silly and just keep popping them in. No,
I'm
I'm
saying
going. What's Johnson? Bedard and
Johnston,
who?
Slavkovsky.
Oh, I can't say that. No, then I got to go. I can't go against
You'll be run out of Canada if you say
My
that.
brothers in Quebec, absolutely not. You'd be an idiot to go against them. Wyatt Johnson, sir.
Okay,
Sir.
so here's what the hobby said.
Ooh,
30% Bedard.
That is the hobby
winner.
wrong. That's ridiculous.
Bedard, but that's also Bedard. Like people are mad. People are just.
That's an
Bedard
angry.
fatigue.
That's an
Bedard
angry vote.
Yeah,
fatigue.
Bedard fatigue.
Just roll with
agree.
it, guys. Don't be angry. Just roll with it. It's almost over. It's almost over.
And then Slavkovsky at 27% was second. Somebody else, 22%, and then 20% Wyatt Johnston. So do you think that there's like somebody obvious in that somebody else category that is primed, that's at or near the top of their tier now that you think is going to get knocked down a peg this year?
I think if my boy Stutzel doesn't have a good year, his cards are going to drop hard and fast.
He's kind of already dropped, hasn't he, though?
I'm not the best on the money stuff. I think all cards have, but I don't buy Stutzel often, so I don't know. You're probably right though. But I mean, he's on the floor, right? People are consolidating. He needs to have a very good year because I think he's a superstar that a lot of people collected and are watching this year. You know,
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of cards are down though, Phil. But if you chose your cards based on the Gongshow 100 index and card ladder, you
Yeah.
find that it's the #1 index right now. And has
Oh,
been
really?
throughout the last week. Yeah.
Well, good thing I don't know how to read, Josh.
It's weird. Most people that don't know how to read can watch TV. Okay, so
Oh, this is. Why'd you guys invite me midweek? I'm getting pounded here.
okay, now biggest surprise, guys. And Louis, you can give your opinion here too on any of the results of the poll here.
I think I am surprised by the Bedard one, even though I chose him. But the more I think about that one, I think truly it's just fatigue. People saw that question and they're like,
Yeah.
"Bleh."
You're right.
Enough
Yeah,
Bedard.
you're right.
I think people are dying for Caulfield to be the biggest hobby comeback. That's why that was such a huge one.
Oh,
I'd like to see that too, even though he went to Wisconsin. Which I can
Well-
forgive him for that.
Caulfield went to Wisconsin.
yeah.
From
Yeah.
Wisconsin, so he went to University of Wisconsin to college.
Wouldn't you go to Minnesota because they have a better program?
You're smart.
If you're smart, well, you did something right. I mean,
I
he's in
think
the
I think
NHL.
Wisconsin might have more national titles.
Oh,
Then the Gophers?
I'll look it up.
No.
I just said hockey.
How dare you, Troy?
What's wrong with Wisconsin?
So
Everything.
Wisconsin Badgers men's hockey has 6. Minnesota, I think, has 5.
I think you're right.
Gophers
Oh, man.
have 5.
Maybe we should get someone from Wisconsin.
Yep,
on
Gophers have 5. Wisconsin have 6.
When was Wisconsin's titles? Like a long time ago.
The 30s.
Well, it's like so it'd have been the last one would have been 2006. So 73, 77, 81, 83, 90, 2006, which I think is more recent than the last time the Gophers won it, right? 2002,
I
right? Is that the
embarrassingly
last
and
Gopher?
humbly stand corrected, and it depresses me. But
Hey, dude, join the club. I pulled a Troy hard here. Yeah.
2003 was the last Gopher title.
Yeah.
it's just a rivalry thing, Phil.
Yeah, I
If
get it. I
your
get it.
team was good enough to have rivalries, you'd feel that way about others.
Yeah, we do. We do. The Maple Leafs. I'm single-handedly responsible for over 300 Maple Leaf jerseys having a black Sharpie mark on them. I'm proud of that. So 20 years ago, and I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's aggressive.
Don't come
Okay.
to my barn.
We're going to move on. Slab Sharks is a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We're thankful for their support of our show. Remember, they'll be at the Van City Card Show in Vancouver this weekend and have brought $100,000 in cash to buy cards from attendees. That's pretty crazy. So if you're in Vancouver, go to the Van City Card Show and sell Slab Sharks your cards. Might be able to cash them in pretty easy. I'm guessing this is becoming more and more popular at these shows, and I'm guessing there's going to be a line of people
Yeah.
to do that. We definitely saw that at the National. There was a number of people doing that
Do
too.
you think we'll see Sylvan in like a puddle underneath his table, just like,
Eating
can't
his
take it
peanut.
anymore?
No, it'll probably be like cashing in, I assume. 'Cause I'm sure they'll be crushing it at Van City. But if you can't be in Vancouver, don't worry. The Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight. Head to slabsharks.com, check out the 2,200 Phil cards that are available and ending at auction. Always monsters, some sneaky good ones too. You can find some cases, it looks like, in this week's auction too. So that's kind of always fun. And if you miss the auction, no big deal. As soon as one auction ends, the next one begins. If you are also a Canadian hockey cards collector that knows more about hockey than Phil, apparently, and looking for ways to turn your cards into cash, whether to fund your next PC purchase or maybe just pay some bills, we'd strongly recommend considering Slab Sharks eBay consignment services. They make it easy to sell your cards on eBay because they do all the work. You just submit your cards via the app or their website, or better yet, drop them off to Sylvan or one of their other reps at one of the many card shows they have reps at, and they take care of the rest, and you're done. Plus, your cards get listed in their very popular weekly auctions where tons and tons of hockey collectors go to look for cards. So for complete consignment info, including payout rates, and to get the consignment process started today, head to slabsharks.com. And then, of course, lastly, but not leastly, as I like to say, don't forget, we'll be coming to you live from the floor at the Toronto Sport Card Expo next month in the Slab Sharks studio, which we are very, very excited for. Cannot wait for that. Happy news!
Hobby news.
Hobby news.
Hobby news. Sorry. I wasn't ready. I'm sorry. I'll be good. So
I was
Monday,
so worked up and waiting for Phil's whatever he was supposed to do. That's why I gave a nice extended hobby news.
Did I tell you about that, Troy?
No.
Phil, you've had one job for
No.
2 shows now.
I've lost a lot of Greek. I don't want to make it. I'm waiting for my Aunt Helen to call me back so we can practice a little bit on the phone.
You could
Yes.
do another language.
I only know Greek. Hey, the happy news. Huh? Like, that's English with an Italian accent. I don't know.
Yeah,
Someone call Bobby. Get Bobby's.
Are you really
Bobby-
Greek?
Yeah, well, no one has spoken Greek to me in like 30 years. The last person that spoke Greek to me was Bobby at last Expo. I was like, bro, slow down. Man.
I don't believe it. Half the stuff I hear you tell me is Greek to me. So
Yeah, get out of here. See me, lad.
Boom, boom.
There you go.
Okay, first story. Igor Shesterkin, guys. This is kind of crazy. So do you remember way back when, like a couple days ago, when the Boston Bruins and Jeremy Swayman were squabbling through the media about his contract negotiations?
Yeah.
And do you remember when like a couple $100,000 per year is what they were apart, where things got like really ugly? I think the Bruins wanted to pay like $8 million a year, and Swayman wanted like 8.5, and we were all scratching our heads because we're like, it's a couple hundred grand. Is this really a big enough deal to be going nuclear in the media over? Fans were getting in the mix, either taking Swayman's side or throwing him under the bus, saying he's chump and he should get out of town for wanting to be too greedy. And even the Gong Show Discord, there's a lot of debate whether it was greedy to ask for 8.5 million on Swayman's side. Well, while all that was happening, Igor Shesterkin was negotiating an extension of his own, and it came out today or yesterday, one of the two, that he turned down an offer of 8 times 88, which this isn't a math show, but that comes out to 11 million per year. Not good enough for Igor Shesterkin. None of this peanuts like 8 million talk that we're working on with Jeremy Swayman over there. And apparently Igor really wants to get paid. According to reports, so he turned down 11 million. He's looking for closer to 12 million average annual value. And so what this whole story has done is stirred up a lot of debate on the value of goalies. Some people are saying, well, Shesterkin was only ever played in 58 games at most in a season. Then other people counter with, well, in those 58 games, he had like 3,300 minutes time on ice, where Panarin had like 1,800 and however many games he played. And so it's kind of got a lot of people debating the value of goalies, because at 12 million average annual value, if the Rangers give that to Shesterkin, that's something like 14% of the total team's salary cap at that point. So
what a team
here's
player.
the question. Yeah, well, is Troy, we'll start with you as our resident goalie expert.
Yeah.
Is that too high of a percentage for a goalie, do you think?
Probably.
Taking 14% of the cap?
Yep. And while I will always usually be on the player's side, I was on Swayman's side. I have nothing wrong with the player trying to get more money, but at 11 mil, that's the highest goalie contract ever, right? That has ever been offered for him, right? Because I'm pretty sure it was the highest, but you got to remember the amount of work going into like cap projections and goalies, and it ain't looking good for goalies. Like, teams are figuring out sometimes you don't have to pay a top goalie a bunch of money when you can find two, a little bit above average goalies. I mean, Darcy Kemper won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, good point.
Let's remember that. I think teams are kind of wising up. I think Shesterkin should have taken the deal. I think he will still get a deal. Maybe not 12. Maybe they'll go to 11.5. Maybe this is all part of the play. But there's definitely teams teams can win without paying a goalie number one, like huge number one money.
Mm-hmm. For
pains me to say
record
it,
too.
Yeah.
Carey Price is currently still
10 million, right?
The highest paid, 10.5 million average annual value. So
when did he last play?
This deal, I don't even remember.
When did he win a cup?
2018 was the start of that contract. for price.
Yes, that was a huge contract for especially a goalie back
They
then.
played 5 games in 2021, 22. So I mean, it's been a couple of years.
Here's the next question for you about this. If any team is going to pay a goalie 11 or 12 million a year, make them the highest paid goalie ever, of the current players, is Shesterkin the one that you would say is most deserving to be the highest paid?
Top 3. I mean,
Yeah, I'll say yes for sure.
Yeah, he seems like he's been the most probably consistent, and he has got the longest track record of, there's some maybe 2 years, 3 years down the road, we're talking about Ottinger or Swayman a little bit differently.
Yeah, and
So,
I want to go back to the argument saying that he only played 50 some games a year. Like, what do you want him to play? If he plays 70, I guarantee he'll stink. Like, goalies can't play 70 to 80 games again. Their bodies break down. It's just the game has changed a lot from those days. So I don't think he can even play that much. So you're paying a lot of money you're going to get 55 games basically.
Yeah.
It's like pitcher, right? I mean, pitchers only start in the majors, 20 some games, 20 to 30 games.
mm-hmm. Well, I think to your point too, it might make more sense instead of paying one goalie that's awesome, $10 million a year, $11 million a year. If you can find 2 that are really good for 4, then you have injury insurance there too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's a better way to go.
So he got offered 11 million and he said no.
Said no.
No.
Right.
So
Yeah.
can I rephrase that? He got offered to be the highest paid goalie in the NHL and he said no.
Yes, of all time. Yes.
So this is why I don't like the business of sports. I'm turning an ignorant eye to that. That is, like, you're a loser. Like, aren't you? Like, that doesn't. I know there's more to it, and they live in a different place. But what's this about? Does he have a boat he wants to buy, or is this for the security of the future for his children? What is?
I'm sure, and what you have to understand too is that all these contracts are 8 years now, right?
Okay.
And 8 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think how the players and their agents look at it is like, well, if you look at the way the league is growing,
Okay.
how the salary cap is growing every year, you're right. Today, it's a lot. In year 7, it's going to be an incredible deal for the team. And so that's probably why they want to push for more now, because like you look at like Swayman at 8.5 million. If the league continues to grow like it has, he'll be probably the 20th highest paid goalie, and he could be the best goalie in the league.
So it's
a little bit of the risk you take when you sign an 8-year deal. You're trading security for potential upside.
So in respect to the league, you might be 20th, but in respect to, like, so look right. Okay, there's my colleagues in my NHLPA. Look to the left. There's your family and the rest of reality of the world we live in.
Sure.
That part doesn't have a factor. Like, I don't know, man. There's something to be said about taking, guys that take hometown discounts just to sign on a team. I love those guys.
Well, Crosby, 8.7 million, right?
Bingo. And that I'm loving Crosby this year. What a class act. And I guess Shesterkin's much younger and his agent is clearly much more aggressive and they want to get what's his. I get it. But when it comes to the business of sports, it kind of grosses me out a little.
And remember, another factor, I was going to say, Shesterkin's 28. Just remember that. He's 28.
Oh, it's not as young as I thought.
Yeah.
He's a goalie. They mature faster. But there's another factor you got to...
Mature later.
Longer.
Later. I'm sorry. That you got to factor into your Phil. You know who hated Crosby's 8.7 million? The NHLPA.
Every player probably hated that.
Yeah.
Right. And so you get a guy like Shesterkin is probably getting pressure from the NHLPA. Like, they get very involved in this stuff too, because they want to make sure that the market is continuing to rise.
Yeah.
For the position too. So it is hard to defend a guy who turns down the highest paid ever offer.
It's just a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm a hockey fan. That's all. That's why I ignore it. Right? I don't want to learn more about it. I very rarely used to go on Cap Friendly. I don't know the new name. Go ahead, Troy.
Cap Wages.
Thank you. And I don't it doesn't interest me. I like good hockey games. I like camaraderie with my friends and family. And when it comes to this kind of discussion, I'd rather stay out of it because
Yep.
what I say last time, don't meet your heroes. This is why. I don't want to meet them.
Mhm.
Not interested.
This stuff ruins the game. Well, it doesn't ruin
Yeah.
the game. I don't like this part in the game. I don't want to hear it. I want to sit down and watch a hockey game, watch guys play. You know,
Yeah.
I love this. I love this stuff.
Oh,
Like,
I don't, man. I
Look
don't.
at
no,
what you
it
can
drives me
do.
nuts.
Listen, on cap wages, you go to GM mode and you can sit there and build your team, manage buyouts. It's awesome.
That's fun. But I'm a 43-year-old man. I'm
Yeah.
I'm buying cards too, but I'm a single father. Like life isn't easy, and I'm just trying to find a little pie of fun and feel like a little kid. And then this guy's turning down 11 million.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
Igor.
I don't have a problem going after the money you think you're worth. That's
Correct.
fine. Put a number on what you think you're worth. And I know the salaries are stupid different in different leagues, but who was it for the Timberwolves? Was it Latrell Sprewell that turned
Gotta
down
feed my family.
a $21 million extension because he needed money to feed his family?
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the reality he's lived in. All right. Well, Igor Shesterkin's 2019 update Young Guns that appeared in 2019 SP Authentic product. And his PSA 10 has a pop 474, 39% gem rate, lasts over $263 US on September 15th. It was up 22% in the past 3 months and up 54% in the past 6 months. As far as goalie Young Guns go, I think a pretty kind of great photo on the card.
Yeah.
I really like this one. Okay, one more story in hobby news. It involves the NCAA and CHL. There's going to be a vote next month. Really big deal.
Really big deal.
Hockey.
So exciting.
Really big deal. So in November, the NCAA will vote on updating its eligibility requirements that would allow players that have played in the CHL to play collegiately in the United States. So what happens right now is if a player is really good in Canada and wants to get exposure and get on the NHL radar, there's a lot of pressure to, well, the CHL draft or whatever is at 15, then you typically play there. But if that's starting at 16 normally, unless they have exceptional status. But once they do that, they're no longer eligible to play collegially in the United States. This rule would overturn that. And I think overall, my opinion is it would be a huge boost for the sport in North America. It would remove and actually in a way would, I think, more help the CHL than hurt it because it would remove a disincentive from playing there.
Yeah.
And I think you would get a better product coming into the NCAA because you'll have guys that have played a couple of years probably in major juniors in Canada and will be better hockey players at that point. The one sort of, and I've read a bunch of articles, one theory is this might hurt the USHL.
Yes, it will hurt the USHL.
Why?
Sure.
Because it's a loophole. And for some stupid, inexplicable reason, Phil, you can, like Fantilli and Owen Power, they came from Canada and played in the USHL, and you retain your ability to play college.
It's because CHL, they get a stipend or a payment, and that would, in the NCAA's eyes, would get rid of their amateur status. Now,
really?
Once NIL got approved by the NCAA, this rule has to get thrown out. It's ridiculous. Now
do they vote on it, or they just throw it like it's
they
omitted?
Don't vote, but it has to go away because you can't have NIL. You're paying college athletes now in the U.S. NCAA athletes are getting paid, so this rule has to go away because it's the reason for the rule is because their players were getting paid. They were professionals. Now they were making a lot of money, but that was the NCAA and their infinite wisdom was saying. But now they're all getting paid. So
overall, this is better. I think. Don't you think this is better?
Oh, it'd be huge for the game. It probably
yeah.
hurts some of the American kids a little bit. That I don't. Maybe
there's 30 to 1 for you guys. Yeah.
Well,
you're okay.
Again, it's just gonna weed out people basically. I mean,
and could make college hockey so much more fun and interesting.
Yeah.
If more top Canadian talent ends up coming, like the trend coming to the U.S.
Well, now
it's rid of the border a little bit, right? The bureaucracy of it.
Yeah. If Doug Woog was still coaching the Gophers, though, this wouldn't matter because it's only Minnesota kids.
Minnesota.
So I'm on board with it. I really hope the NCAA passes it. It sounds like, Troy, you're on board with it as well.
Oh yeah, they have to. I mean, you can't have NIL and then disallow people because you're saying they're getting paid.
It's going the right way. It's going the
Yeah.
right way. This is great.
I was really pleasantly surprised too that the AI image creators didn't go like totally off the rails on this one. There is the random H on the CHL
Yeah.
jersey here. If you're watching on YouTube, that's a
Why
little.
why
But
is the NCAA guy so old?
Yeah. He's a spectator.
well, the NCAA is an old institution, and you got the
Yeah.
young up and coming hockey players from the CHL. It fits the theme, doesn't it? Okay. Skybox Metal Universe was released yesterday, and it's really a special set if you're a card design nerd like me. I've always been kind of an artsy person, loved art. It's the first Metal Universe sports set designed by the original Metal Universe designers, Jean MacLeod, who designed it with her husband Earl as part of Rena Designs and working for Fleer and Skybox in the 90s. And in fact, Jean and Earl created some of the hobby's most iconic cards that we often see repeated today in sets like PMGs, Jambalaya, Essential Credentials, and a whole host of other cards. And of course, Skybox Metal Universe has its roots going back to, I think, 95 when they designed it originally. So I had the exciting opportunity to go through many of the designs for the newly released out today, as we're recording this on Wednesday, 2023-24 Metal Universe with Jean the other day. And for me, that's a huge treat just to get her, again, insight as to what her thought process was when she was making these cards. It's a little bit of a nerdy conversation. I get that. But if you're interested in the design aspect of cards, I think you'll find this conversation interesting. So with that, here's hobby legend Jean MacLeod on designing 2023-24 Metal Universe Hockey. Well, I want to welcome back, I think for the second or third time already, which is kind of crazy, Jean MacLeod back to the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. Hi, Jean. How are you?
Good. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing well. Well, we're here to talk about the 2023-24 Metal Universe set, which is out today, or well, actually yesterday, from the day that this show comes out. Jean, in addition to being a senior creative director at Upper Deck, also is the creative force behind 2023-24 Metal Universe, which she originally designed in the 1990s. So we'll get to talk about that. And then she also has to keep Billy Cilio in line in there at Upper Deck, which I'm sure is your hardest job.
That's almost a part-time job in itself.
I imagine. So first question, it has actually nothing to do with metal, but what's the weirdest, or maybe it does, what's the weirdest idea Billy has come up to you with so far?
Well, there's one that's actually in this set that's pretty strange.
Okay, well, let's put a pin in that. Then we'll save it. You can tell. But yeah, he's known for some of his, I think like Cheddar was a probably a precursor to a newer back at Upper Deck.
Yeah.
Cards made out of cheese, but yeah, hey, it's always good to keep it fun and fresh.
A couple coming out that should be pretty out there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's talk about metal.
Mhm.
So prior to you working on this 2023-24 edition of Metal Universe, when was the last time you'd had designed a Metal Universe card prior to that?
Well, the very first set that we did when we came back was Metal Universe Champions. So
okay.
that we've done a couple of those sets, but this is the first like sports set that we've done.
Gotcha.
Probably in, I don't know, 25 years.
Yeah, prior to that, it had been, it seems like quite a long time.
Mhm.
Now, when you got back in the saddle with metal again and we're going to do a sports set for the first time, did you have ideas right away, or did it kind of take a little bit of time to get your head back into the whole metal way of thinking, I guess?
No, I got into it right away. I kind of knew what I wanted to do. Like we've done in the past, metal was either based on metal. So we did the ones where they had like the rivets and the name was on a metal plate, that kind of thing. Or it was based on the universe part of it. So, with the backgrounds that were universe themed. And then we also did that Metal Universe Champions set, which had all the cityscapes in the background. So I knew that they hadn't really done that particular type of a thing with the backgrounds based on the cities. And I thought, ooh, like Now I have hockey. I can do all the cities that they're related to. But there's a lot of legal issues with that now. So some of those buildings in those cities now are owned by particular companies, and they don't allow you to show images of it.
Oh,
So
geez.
what I thought was going to be a great way to like do Metal Universe this year, because I thought at the time that we did that champion set, we had very little images of all those cities. And now I
Yeah.
thought, okay, I have like a million to choose from. I could find online. And then I was told we really can't do that. So that was my initial idea. And then I went with this kind of fantasy cities.
Yeah.
So they're like futuristic cities. And then I thought, what if they were kind of being invaded? So I put in space ships in
Yeah.
above the cities. So I love this set. Like I did, I think 20 different backgrounds, 20 different cities, and then a bunch of different spaceships, so that could change. So they're very much, I like Metal Universe to feel like every card has its own unique kind of look to it. And so that's how I
Yeah.
kind of achieved that this year.
Yeah, and it's kind of a futuristic vibe to
Yeah.
it, and it makes it different and unique. And I would imagine working at a sports card company where there's sort of the tried and true way, like the easy hit, right? Way
Yeah.
to what everyone sort of expects. But
Yeah.
there's, I think, sometimes dangers in doing that too often too, is that you never evolve, you never, um, kind of I think this Middle Universe is a great example. You look back at probably some of the risks that you and Earl took with Arena Designs and your work at Fleer and Skybox in the 90s.
Mhm.
That had you not done those are some of the biggest cards in the hobby now, and some of they pay off. And so you got to, I think, continue to push kind of design forward and not be afraid to try new stuff. Is that kind of how you think about it too?
Definitely. I mean, I think that we have plenty of sets that are based in reality, that have maybe the background in, and so sometimes let's have fun with some of the other sets. We do enough that we could have a variety of
Mhm.
look. And so metal, I always think of, much more risk taking, which is the more fun sets to work on.
Well, in Metal Universe, it seems like what I think of it, it's just a giant playground of experimentation. Almost, it's almost like there's no rules. Like when you design the cup, it's a lot of rules because it has very strict expectations and it's very steeped in tradition.
Right.
Where it's like Metal Universe is one of those big sandboxes for trading card designs that you get to try a whole bunch of different stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like Ultra was always like that. Ultra was always just very kind of had to have a certain look. And
Yeah.
then when we did metal, all of the Skybox brands, actually, we kind of decided to go more experimental with those than the Fleer brands.
Oh, I like that kind of. I think experimental is probably a good word to do that. So when you just approach metal, do you always kind of like, is the design of the set anchored in the base card design? Is that where you typically start?
Yeah. I mean, I always hear, oh, people don't really collect the base set. But to me, the look of the base set will determine the rest of the set kind of. So I think the base set is a very important look
Mhm.
to start with. So yeah, I usually put a lot of time into the base sets.
Do you think all cards in a set should fit a theme, in your opinion, or does that depend on the set?
um yeah, I really don't think of it as a theme. Although with metal, usually it's either etched, it's going to be like a light effect, so it's either metal based or
Mhm.
kind of fantasy based. But every now and then we'll do some that aren't even either of those things, and it still fits in with it. It is kind of a feel. There's like a more of a feel to it than a look. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's like a mixed medium, right? It's not just
Yeah.
sort of design. It's like very much intricate to the design of the cards is the canvas or substrate that they're printed on, and there
Yep.
seems to be a variety of those that happen in metal, and you're much more in tune with those than I am. And I think too, like that's one thing that I've learned about kind of your contributions to the hobby is that you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you really approach design from that mixed media perspective. Like you're looking for new materials,
Yeah.
new ways, new printing technologies to bring in
Yeah.
addition to just the graphic design element of
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the combination of those two things that make the card. And sometimes, it price will determine that. Sometimes
it. Hmm.
something that I want is very expensive, and so it's only going to be on the case hit, whereas I would love for you to see it more often. But
Yeah.
but then that makes that case hit that much more special.
Hmm. Well,
So
a big parallel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. It's fine.
I was going to transition to a big parallel of the no
Sorry,
worries.
I'm getting a phone call come through.
A big parallel of the base design, of course, is the PMG. Those have become very valuable and very sought after in recent years.
Yeah.
And just talk me through your overall approach to PMGs this year. It's like, a card that's kind of basic in nature. How do you really evolve the look and feel of it?
Um, so it's a strange PMGs are a double-edged sword for me. So like when we first did them, they were going to just be that year.
Yeah.
And then they became very popular. And so they have been doing them over the years. And they've kind of evolved to be we always strip out the background. They don't want other graphics kind of interfering with that foil hit that you
Hmm.
get. So the very first year when we did Metal Universe Champions, I left a lot of black and white image in the background, and which I liked, but we've since stripped it out to be this, which is fine to me because it still has that etching. So even though you no longer see the image in the background, when you move the foil, etching will kind of give you that
Oh, cool.
skeleton of what is back there. So
A couple of just like interesting functional changes to the PMG that I noticed this year is the numbers are on the front. I don't ever remember a time. Is that a design decision or is that a business decision that kind of comes through other departments to you?
well, I like to mix it up. So I did that. And then later on, I think someone mentioned, hey, I didn't realize the numbers were on the front, but at that point it was far along. So that's the
Oh,
way it
okay.
is this year.
The other thing
So
that's
I
different too is
intended
that
it. Go ahead.
and I don't know if you had your handprint on this originally, but one of the things that was always very unique about the numbering convention of PMGs is that even though there's 10 greens, it was still out of 100, and you kind of had to
Yeah.
learn as a hobbyist that the first 10 are green, and then the second 90 are red, and then sometimes there's blue mixed in there. That would be like what 20 or 11 to 50, or and now we have the gold 101, which even more complicates it because it falls outside of the
Yeah.
100. But it looks like that we've now, in this case, we're numbering the green actually out of 10. Was that something that you thought it was time to do? Or is that, again, does that someone else make that decision?
That would be product development. So
Okay.
they determined that the first time it was done, um, we knew we wanted to add a parallel. So we had already done the baseball set. We were doing basketball, and they wanted to add a parallel. So that's when we went to the green and red. In the baseball, the first set was all silver. And when
Oh,
they
okay.
wanted to add a numbered parallel, we went to the green and the red. But we originally went to just the green, and then they said maybe we should do two parallels. And so they kept it at 100 and then just split it 90-10. So it was not intentionally done that way at first, but then and then we were like, well, it'll be kind of cool. The collector will be able to then figure it out. Like it's kind of nice to be not so literal all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It gives you sort of levels of understanding as a collector that you go through the hobby. When you sort of
Yeah.
learn some of these things, it's like unlocking part of the code or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Like when
I'm
we
kind
did
of,
essential credentials now and future. That took a little while
Yeah.
for people to understand what that was all about, which I thought was cool too.
Yeah, I still don't understand it, but I try to explain it every time. The reverse numbering based on the checklist for those.
Yeah.
So when you say like PMGs as sort of a double-edged sword, part of me wonders what it's like, and this is I assume not solely unique to trading cards. It's more balancing for yourself as an artistic person, but living in a commercial world, right? Do you
Yeah.
find those where there's the artistic side of you that kind of wants to, keep kind of creating new art versus having to kind of, the reality and practicality of just the commercial world, and that these are cards that people love and want more of. And so kind of for yourself, how do you balance that out?
Well, when I was at Fleer, my philosophy was always one and done. So I wanted to do it once. Next year, let's do what's like the next great thing each time. When I got to Upper Deck, they liked the history, and a lot of collectors like the history of certain brands or certain inserts. And so I've since come around to that, but I think it's somewhere in between. Like doing it too often, I think then devalues the ones that are out there, or it doesn't make it as special.
Yeah.
But then just doing one and done, then you might be like, oh, but I want my favorite, like maybe 5 years later, you want your favorite players of the time in that set. So I kind of think it's somewhere in between the two.
And I think just in general, as an artist, that again, it has to make money doing stuff, is that there is a certain level of understanding that maybe like in your youth when you're in art school, that you have certain philosophical, it's like a musician would have to too,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
using your song as in a television commercial or something like that, is that
Right.
you just have to kind of come to terms with both sides of that.
Well, I kind of feel like that's why that time in my designing career was so great, because I was just like, no, this is going to be really cool. I don't care if you think it's going to sell, like let's just try it. And so I think I was pushing experimenting because I wasn't really worried about the saleability of it. I just figured if it looks great, people are going to want it. And then it turned out to be true. So that worked out.
And I would assume that a trading card company, it's probably important to have a balance of those two different perspectives.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody to keep pushing and evolving forward, because like and I've worked in sales, on the sales side of things my whole career. And in sales, you want to keep things safe and
Right.
predictable, right? That's the
Right.
comfort zone of a salesperson, where the comfort zone of an artist is to keep pushing the boundaries forward.
Yeah. And you need both. Right. If it was just what I wanted, it would might not always work. But I think experimenting on some sets, like we were talking about, works, and keeping predictability on others works too. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to mention about PMGs was that when I first came back to Upper Deck, they were trying to figure out, the originals had this like luminescence that they couldn't seem to achieve. So what they were doing was they were using like a rainbow foil in the background, and then using a PMS red or a PMS green on top to simulate the green and the red. They didn't know how we got that, but those were actually custom foils that we had made. So they're a green rainbow foil and a red rainbow foil, and that's the way that they're the foil actually comes that way, and that's what gives it that luminescence. So I was able to let them know that's exactly how we did it, and this is the company that we used. And so now the PMGs that have been out for the last year use that technology, and I think that makes a big difference. If you look at some of the older PMGs, they might not have that, but
more true to the original almost in that respect. Okay.
Yep.
That's an interesting point you made, and I'm connecting dots that I've learned over the past 2 years now as I let that soak in. And one of the things I don't think I ever realized, or maybe even took time to think about, is how much of certain cards is dependent on different materials or different even print shops that have certain technologies or printers or maybe a print operator that knows how to do things certain ways that
Yep.
can make these cards, and then life happens and maybe that company goes away or gets bought out or the machine gets
Hmm.
replaced, and then it becomes from what I'm starting to learn more and more, harder and harder to, or maybe even impossible in some cases, to reproduce those cards.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea that was going to be I thought when I came back, I was like, oh, print will have progressed so much and we'll be able to do so much more. And in some ways we can do less because really people don't print as much. So
Yeah,
those
and all these print facilities
artisans
in the
out
US
there.
are closing, right?
Right. Exactly. So,
Especially specialty ones.
yes. So
Yeah.
a lot of the specialty printers have gone to packaging. So that's the one instance where people still spend that kind of money to do special foils or special paper. Like, if you look at makeup packaging or certain high-end packaging, you can find this type of stuff, but that's where they've all gone, to packaging.
Ah, super interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, well, hot off the press, like literally less than a half hour before we got on our recording here,
Yeah.
the Upper Deck Gallery came out for 2023-24 Metal Universe, and this is where I think like at the production facility they scan a bunch of the photos. So we're gonna go. We went through them, just full disclosure, like very quickly, just to make sure there was nothing that like shocked or surprised us.
Right.
In that, that might have been good content, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we'll go kind of through some of these again. What I find that's not even just from your perspective, but for like Billy or Tony from the product manager, and I guess it's just how the process has to work, is that most, if any, if maybe like none of these cards you've ever seen in person yet, right?
Right. Some of them I may never see.
Isn't that kind of like scary though, from like
It
the
is.
designing perspective, because to see it, I guess would be right. That's the confirmation that the printing process was able to translate the design, right?
Exactly. And even sometimes when I am able to see them, we've already done the next year or the next 2 years of that. So it's like, oh, well, this didn't turn out like I wanted. 3 years from now, we'll be able to fix it.
Yeah,
It's
that is crazy how far in advance you work on. So that's a
yeah.
good question. So was designing this set, was that a couple years ago at this point, or
I was not working at Upper Deck yet. Um, so I was still working as an external contract designer.
oh wow,
So it's been at least a year and a half.
yeah,
So when these started coming out, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see it. And I was thinking of the set. I already designed Metal Universe Hockey, the one that follows this. So I was thinking that was coming out, but it was the one before that. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen those cards yet.
well, I made the analogy to Billy too, where like a lot of times when actors and actresses are out promoting a movie, they filmed it 2.5 years ago. So they're
Yeah.
being asked all these detailed questions. And it's
Yeah.
like, if I think of my own life, I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone 2.5 years ago. So there must be a lot of recall and sort of interpretation that has to happen there.
Unfortunately, I do remember all like, I don't know, everything it takes to process something, but I forget what cards are in that set. So I printed out all the cards so that
Yeah.
when we started talking, I was like, oh yeah, that's cards in that set, So there's some really cool stuff, I think, in this set.
Well, we're looking at what'll be a big one. It'll be the Connor Bedard base PMG gold 101 gold.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this will be probably a condo equivalent here.
Yeah.
Looks nice in the scan though.
I hope you get one in your box.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And then here we have the red Luke Hughes there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got a question for you. So all throughout the history of trading cards, I'm going back to the Bedard real quick. Are you a fan of a particular one of one stamp? Like there's like the one kind of like slash one. There's the one script one. I like the ones where the of is scripted and
Do
it's
you?
kind of italicized because it makes it feel more elegant and special. But I'm just wondering if you have an opinion on that.
It's funny because we do that on the one of ones. Whenever I'm in a meeting, they're always like, "Oh yeah, the script one of one." I like when it looks like it's stamped with the other ones, like 1/1. Like if that's the way the whole set is, I like it to match that. But I can
Okay.
understand this.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree. That's fine.
Okay.
Here's the red. Looks very deep and maybe in the scan, and maybe this is where you're talking about how what do you say, the luminescence, is that how you put it, of the color
Yeah.
really comes out?
So once we went back and did those red and greens, we also produced like 5 other colors from that same company. So we were able to expand. So they're all done in that way now. So even the blues and the purples, all that are all done in the same way.
So like as part of your role, like if you find a paper or foil or something that you really like, then will you
Mhm.
just produce as much of that as you can? And do you guys keep like stockpiles, like they keep stockpiles of like jersey pieces for patches and
No.
stuff like that?
No, I mean, I'm in charge of like finding that stuff and then doing R&D. So I'll also get like test samples done if it's a new stock, but usually we'll only order enough for a job at a time because we
Oh,
don't
okay.
know if we're going to wind up doing it again. And then we wind up having,
Waste.
a lot of waste. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another example of the green. This is so like the first one we looked at was from the cell sheet, which came out
Mhm.
of Matthew and I's a couple
Okay.
of a number of months ago now. But then when you go back to the gallery, then you can really see sort of the pop of the color on that foiling there. Now this Simon Edvinson is a rookie. This is one of the 98 parallel, I believe. Am I correct in that?
I know it's a
Retro.
retro. Yeah, it's a retro. I'm not sure of the year, but
And this would have been a set with this after you had no longer been worked at Skybox. Is this an original design you did or
if
no?
it's 98, I would have been there, but I did not do that. So
Okay.
I don't know why I wouldn't.
Here's a green. Now, really nice little color match with my guy Brock Faber. Oh, I got a question on like the materials on PMG, the chipping. Is that just always going to be a fact of this card, or is there anything that could ever be done to maybe make it more durable from that perspective?
The problem with PMGs is twofold. Like I think that holographic foil chips when it goes to the edge more often, and this is a holographic foil. But
Okay.
then also it's etched. So the etching goes all the way past the edge of the card. And so that etching plus the hollow foil, I think it is what the issue is. We've looked at a million ways to try to fix it. I think it is better than it used to be. If you look at those early ones, I mean, some of them a 2.5 is what like the highest grade. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely work on it all the time, but some of it is inherent in it. The only thing that would change that would be if we stopped etching it or didn't bring it out to the edge. But some of that is what I think makes metal. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like we're walking the line of
Mhm.
changing it versus making it more durable.
I think the hobby is adjusted. It's sort of grading scale on certain
Yeah,
cards like Metal Universe too, where it's
yeah,
like if it's a Young Guns and it's a 7, not too many people are going to be interested. If it's a
right,
PMG, it's like, oh yeah, it's a PMG. It's not a bad grade
exactly.
actually for
Right.
that card. So here's now the 97, 98 retro, which seems
Mhm.
to be kind of the iconic PMG design for this is the Bedard red here. Why do you think 97, 98 is the one that resonates so much? Is it just because the whole Michael Jordan factor, or do you think there's something in the design itself that
I think it was a perfect storm. Like, yes, the players that were in that set, 100%. Um, I think it was the first year that we did the red and green, and I think that people really gravitated towards those.
Yeah.
Just that foil was beautiful. And then it was also a very unusual idea to come up to do every background different. All the illustrators that were at Marvel were doing all the backgrounds for me. So I think it was a number of factors. But I think that's
Mhm.
the PMG that they gravitate towards because of those colors.
Mhm.
And that was the first time it was done.
Yeah, again, here's the red Connor Bedard, so that would be out of 100. Now this looks like the 2013 retro that must be again a Marvel retro this year. This is the base, not the PMG, and it looks like it's Nikita Kucherov in this case. When you are working, like, who does the illustrations on these? Do you guys hire an illustrator? Do you work with a Marvel illustrator for that? How did that come to be?
On this particular one, I'm not sure if that was, does that say that's original art? I'm not sure if that's original art or if that's like, sometimes you can achieve that through a filter in Photoshop. And sometimes we get them, there's no way to achieve it. And so we get them illustrated. For some
Gotcha.
reason, I feel like this might be the characters illustrated and the background is common. I don't know. I'm not positive.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
that particular design with the metal like that was entertainment always used that design. Yeah.
Mhm. Then, here's another. We're kind of going back. Here's another 97, 98 retro with Logan Cooley. And this is all from the Upper Deck Gallery that you can go to on Facebook and view for yourself. Again, just really pops there. When this would be a green out of 10. Now we're back. Now here's the blue PMG version. And I think that was what unique about the entertainment PMGs is that I'm not sure if they were the first ones to do it, but you have the blue parallel out of 50
Hmm.
in there, and here's Austin Matthews again for a little bit of like a Jackson Pollock kind of, what do they call it, like splatter paint sort of
Yeah.
vibe to it there, or
So it looks like everyone is unique.
and then there's the Skybox Premium Prospects parallels, and this is where you get into some of the or card design. Then you have the associated parallels where some of them are pretty well known, like the Star Rubies, which is
Right.
the out of 99 parallel. I'm assuming this one, because these are scanned, probably isn't presented as
Yeah. I mean, I
intended.
think that's going to be much nicer in hand because that's a holographic foil. The PMS in the background changes for each one. It's funny, I wanted a perspective. I wanted like a forced perspective to make it look like he was in like an environment.
Yeah.
Which you'll see better when you're able to move the card. My son does a lot of work in 3D programs. He designs
Okay.
skins for games for like in
Yeah.
a game. And so he worked in a 3D program and I said, look, this is my idea. Can you do that background for me? So my son actually did that background for me.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that'll be somewhat of a special card then. Yeah, I can't wait to see these ones in person. Here's another one. I'm assuming this is one of the parallels here. It's kind of hard from the
Yeah.
gallery because you maybe can't identify on the back. There is I think a 101 diamond parallel. I'm not sure if it's in the gallery, but I thought I saw that on the checklist of these.
I can tell you because I have my mechanicals here.
Yeah, Jean's got her super secret files that nobody can see. Okay, I'm not jealous or anything.
It allows me to see exactly. Okay, so yeah, there's a Star Diamonds, which is, oh yeah, that's a light blue. It's really a beautiful foil.
What parallel, based on interpreting the scan here, would you say this one is?
That looks like it might. That looks like it's the base card.
Oh, okay.
So
So the base cards have a little color to them. Then
yeah, they're blue, and then there's a red, and then there's like a light blue.
Gotcha. Okay. That was Brock Faber. Okay, here's one I'm excited because I love 90s basketball cards too. and I'm a big fan of the Z-Force.
Mm-hmm.
And has Z-Force been in hockey before? I don't think so, has it?
I don't think so. We did do Z-Force in Metal Universe Champs.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it has been in hockey. And this one I love because normally parallels we just change out the foil color or we change out a PMS color. In this case, we left the foil and the player, but the whole background, all that graphics changes for every parallel. So Bedard will have 5, I think it is, different versions of this card.
Okay. Now, so you did like I love how you did the name here. It's sort of like a 3D sort of foiled effect.
Mm-hmm.
When you make design decisions like that, what happens if they have like there's a guy in Florida, the rookie now, like Miroshnichenko or something like that, like the longest name ever.
I would say, can
Does
we
that
take
ever-
one of that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, does that ever stuff like that ever become a problem though, or are those just things
It
that you
does.
learn with experience of, kind of things to stay away from that could maybe get you in trouble?
I usually try to look at the shortest name because there's also some that only have 3 letters. So
True.
like, we'll look at the shortest and the longest just to see if they're going to work. But normally I work with kind of a middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Designers always get accused of using the best version of it, like the best photo for their design, the best length of the player name, like all that stuff, which we probably do that. But I do try to take into account the other extremities of that, like, the short and the long.
One of the things that we comment on a lot on, because we stare at hockey cards way too much, is this kind of a phenomenon that I don't think players can control, but in this case, it's a very good example of, have you heard of like the hockey mouth phenomenon, where players just have like weird mouth positions in a lot of their cards? And I'm just wondering if that, like, if you guys look at stuff like that when I'm gonna see if I can find an example real quick. It's a 10, not really.
Well, I was just looking at the photo shoot from the rookies, and there's some, I have noticed some of that, especially with the rookies. I think they're, that maybe they're nervous. I don't know, but.
Oh, one of the things that you should do, not that you probably are super interested in checking out our show, but for the last few weeks, Troy has been doing a series on the ugliest hockey cards ever created. And a big part of that series is back like in none of your cards, don't worry. Back in the early 70s. And I understand that there was like a technical challenge here, but when a player traded teams, instead of putting like let's say a player was traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the Montreal Canadiens or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
instead of putting them on the card in the Sabres jersey and like saying traded to Canadiens, what they did is I don't know how they did it. They like physically like cut out their head and put it on a different body of a different player, and it never looks right.
That's so bizarre.
And there's like way more examples. I'm going to email you some now, and you're going to have a lot. You're going to have a lot of fun laughing.
I'm surprised the NHL would allow that.
But in 1970, they probably didn't care.
Yeah, that's probably true. They wouldn't have. They wouldn't have.
Crazy. I think these would be a big hit. I'm very much looking forward. And there's that Z-Force, again, nostalgia, getting back to the Bedard example. And I think like there's like, would this be the Super Rave? There is a Super Rave parallel that's out of, I want to say like 50 or 25 or something like that.
Well, I could tell you right now if I look in my thing. So, like I was saying, there's different backgrounds. Okay, so here's the base. Here's that particular one. That's not the base. That is the. I don't have them named as to what variations they are.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll be a mystery. We'll find out soon enough. Well, actually, the whole world will.
Oh no, that is the Super Rave. I'm sorry,
okay.
I did see that. Yep, that's the Super Rave version.
And what is that number 2? Is that 50 or 25?
Super Rave is number 2. See, I have my cheat sheet here. Weird. On my mechanical, I don't have what it's numbered to. I don't even know where it's numbered.
That's numbered to something. We'll figure it out.
Sorry.
That's super
Sorry.
important.
Yep.
The next one that I was very excited to see is there's a 1990 kind of like retro or tribute card. It's a
Yep.
little bit of a die cut in that the corners are rounded. I was a big 1990 Skybox basketball fan. I believe it's the first Skybox set. And when it produced, and then I learned like a day later that these are actually metal cards. They're like made out of
Oh,
metal.
okay. I didn't realize that because it's a retro. I don't really get involved with getting those produced.
Oh,
So
I got you. So you handle more the new stuff,
yeah,
new designs. Oh, okay.
unless it's a retro that they're not sure how it was produced, and in this case, they're not even going to what it was normally produced as.
Yeah, it was just a paper card, I think.
Yeah.
Back in,
Yeah,
back
it had
in
like a metallic gold border.
Then we have now the Palladiums have always kind of had like a funky die cut, but they've been a little bit more triangular in nature. And this one is, how do you describe the die cut here?
Well, I had a different die cut on this. I had the design that I knew I wanted to do, that kind of radiating type. And I don't know if it was technically that we couldn't do it or they just didn't like it. So I gave them a number of options for die cuts, and it's kind of a skewed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Palladium is that they're acetate, or as you guys call it, PETG.
Yep.
Why do you call it PETG and not acetate? It seems, is there
technical
technically
term? Yeah,
Oh,
there's
okay.
a lot of different plastics that we can print on, but PETG is what we tend to use.
Gotcha. And it's got a little bit of foiling on it too, it looks like.
Yeah, the outline of all that lettering is foiled.
That's
I think
cool.
that's going to be nice. Yeah.
Now here's one of the goalie inserts. It's called goose eggs.
Yep.
Now this looks like a mixture of acetate, die cut, and foiling as well. Am I correct there?
Yep. I think this one's going to be really nice. So the only thing that you will see transparent on these are like the center of the letters, between his legs, like that kind of stuff. Everything else is backed by white, like all the actual zeros and the player.
Oh, I got
So
you.
that'll kind of give it a transparent look of the letters, and then it's all die cut all around the outside. I think that's going to be really nice looking.
And goose eggs follows the theme of like a shutout there too. So interesting theme there. Now the next one I hadn't seen until just a few minutes ago. Quick Strike. You said this is PETG or acetate as well?
Yeah. So everything that you see as white there will be transparent. Everything else is backed by white, and those are all like hockey sticks. They're kind of leaning. You know, if you go to a hockey rink, you see all the sticks lined up, leaning there. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Was this a tricky design to get right with the image of the player?
It was, and then I also wasn't sure if our legal team would have an issue with the fact that some of, I didn't want it to look like any particular stick, so I was trying to mix it up.
Yeah, make it look generic or something like that. Here's Energetic Explosions, and we're looking at an Alexander Ovechkin. Again, this is probably one that doesn't translate super well into scan, but looks better. So what's kind of the idea behind the design of this card?
There's like a really cool, the center has this piece that's coming out and it looks like it's kind of exploding. It is really hard to tell on that. I wonder if I do have that, but there's so many inserts. It takes me forever to find.
There's a very metal looking card though, in of it. I mean, this is one that.
Yeah, it's an etched foil, just like the base cards are.
Then another one, Meltdown. Now, this is kind of, again, interesting to look at how you really have to see a lot of these cards in hand because, again, this looks fairly sort of, I can't even think of the word I'm looking for, but understated by the scan. But then you look at, I'm kind of going through
I mean, I could show you on my.
Yeah,
on my
here's an
design.
example from the
This
cell
is what
sheet.
the design looks like. See? So
Yeah.
that's what the artwork looks like, but it's printing on foil and then you're scanning it. So yeah, you're not really
gonna
seeing it the
translate.
way you could. Yep.
But this one kind of, it's again a little bit more of a common insert, but has sort of like the reflection of the player in the background, where the background seems to be kind of like melting, right? Like
Right. And it's like team color kind of feel to it.
Oh yeah, yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Now T Tatari, you were telling me earlier that's a star. So
Right.
again, playing on the planetary universal kind of aspect of metal. What kind of stands out to you in this design, or what was your hope that you're trying to achieve here?
Well, the background is mostly black. T-Tauri star, if you look that up, it's like a very bright star, but it's not like it. So the way that stars are, they're only in a certain area. So I wanted it to kind of highlight the type. So a lot of that is in the background is black. And then I wanted it to look like it was kind of lighting up the ice, like he's standing on the ice and the star is like lighting up the ice. Yeah.
That's a great photo too of Yaroslav Askarov. You don't see
That is
goalies
cool.
in that with that sort of body position very
Yeah.
often. Premium player, is this a foil board card? Is that what this is on?
It is, and it's obviously based off of the old premium player card.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're looking at a Leo Carlson. That again, a lot of these old metal cards and Skybox premium cards have their roots back to most people basketball in the late 90s.
Yep.
So the game. Here's another basketball reference. And this is foil board as well.
It is, like the original was just C2S, but then we sold the game was foiled in a rainbow foil.
Yep.
Like rainbow colored foil. So it was like blue, green, red, yellow, blue, green, like a rainbow of colors. I wanted to do something that was reminiscent of it, but is very different. So the type is more dimensional. And what you see in the type will be backed by white. So all that will be foiled coming through is the background. I think
cool.
that'll be nice. Because sometimes when you do, if I were to just put this on foil, it kind of melds into the background, but the color of that type will be still vibrant because I'll have white behind it.
A lot of contrast there between the background is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Cool. Then I had to look. Sometimes you guys like make me actually learn stuff. So I had to go. I was looking at the checklist. I'm like, what does 9.461 EKM mean?
Right.
Like it has to be something like again, solar system, universe, whatever. And if I remember correct, it's the lights. A light year, light speed, and
is it like the speed of light? Yeah.
Speed of light in terms of kilometer? Is that per hour? I don't know. Too much thinking, Gene. Here.
Look, you know how many inserts they have to come up with names for? I can imagine.
I know.
They're like really grasping.
So how do you take something like that? Where like I want light speed. How did you like sort of translate that into the design of a card then?
Well, it depends. Like if it's new, then I could kind of do whatever I want. In this case, they wanted a double photo card.
Okay.
So that gave me some limitation for that. And I had already done a couple where there were bright lights or, motion fields. So in this case, the design is very clean. And it has this like almost like a mountain feel in the background.
Yeah.
I love the coloring of it. I'm just curious how it's going to come out against the being on the foil board. So sometimes I'm never sure until I see it.
Again, that's just wild about how your job works. We're big fans when there's double photos, that there's different photos. So I very much like that. And even in the home and away uniform here too, I think that gives that one a cool look. Another goalie card, boy, goalie's represented in 2023-24 Metal Universe. We have looks like a die cut Netrageous, and this one we're looking at the Patrick Waugh. It's pretty awesome in his old Canadians pads there. Tell me about this card.
So Netrageous was a popular set in basketball in the 90s, and I wanted to kind of give a nod to that. So I used the two colors that were used in that, which were like an orange and a green, but completely redesigned the background. And that was also a very type centric card, which I did again. Like, so the background is very type oriented.
You know what my favorite part of this card is? Guess.
The shadow?
Yes.
On the player?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, because it makes it feel like it was like this was a photo shoot. It's that they use that sort of what Patrick Waugh was really behind this background, what shadow it would have cast onto it. That's one of the details of this card that I really, really like.
Good. I'm glad you noticed it.
Now the business, we're just rocking with the goalies here. A lot of die cuts in Metal Universe, I noticed. And is this sort of that cityscape kind of vibe that you were looking for?
What? I'm trying to do. I said somebody's calling my phone. That's why it's ringing in the background. Yeah, so it's on a foil board, a hollow foil board, and it's die cut. I went with the business being kind of like the business world being like a city. You know, you usually go into the city when you're going to work for a business company. So I kind of went with that theme. I think that's going to be really nice. I love the die cut's pretty intricate. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get that through, but I was able to. Sometimes die cuts are hard. You know, they actually take a metal and they form it around into the shape that you want. And they say, well, we can't really bend it in that way, but in this case, they were able to do it.
Huh. Very cool. Then Vivacity or Vivacity? How do you say this one? Vivacity?
Yeah, I think Vivacity, but.
Okay. And this is, again, another kind of interesting die cut, but not a die cut I don't know if I've seen very often before.
To me, it's like a gemstone. Like my ring is like, it's almost like an emerald cut.
Oh yeah.
I felt like the colors are very gem feeling too. Like they change. There's variations in the color, and I felt like they were all kind of very gem feeling.
What kind of background or what substrate is this printed on?
It's on a holographic board, foil board.
A lot of color, I'm sure.
Yeah, lots of color.
Will really pop, stuff like that. All right, now this one is crazy. And again, I had to look it up. I even wrote in my notes here, Martensite.
Yes.
And so Martensite is what? It's the crystalline form of carbon, steel crystalline form of carbon.
Okay.
You guys have like a physicist on staff there, or how are you coming up with this stuff?
I don't know. You have to ask Billy. Billy came up with that one. But so we found this foil board that kind of gives you that feel. And then we added these kind of futuristic kind of steel structures that I felt worked well with that. I'm really anxious to see this. I've never used that foil board before. And
a lot of depth in here. So I'm guessing that this one will really refract a lot of light. That's the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Super cool. And this one's Quinn Hughes that we're looking at.
It'll have a lot of motion as you move it.
Cool. Now, Metallics is newer in the, I think since like maybe 2020 or 2021. These are thicker cards that are, and then sort of have that very metal feeling to them. Are they still like that?
They kind of feel like it's a double layer almost. So the top layer, we do all that foil work on like a transparent layer, and then you attach it to like a paper layer, and that kind of gives you that dimensional feel to it.
Looks like you added more like details to the design this year. We're looking at Adam Fantilli, and there's some Like, how do you describe these sort of like design elements? Is it just sort of
I mean, I think they fit in with that futuristic kind of. It's
gotcha?
almost like a like you're looking at a futuristic screen of some sort that they might have those graphics on it.
Yeah, like an ID card almost or something like that, right? I
Yeah,
totally get that. And again, it's spelled metal dash X, and in Billy's mind, that's metallics, but a lot of people call it metal X.
yeah. I call it Metal X, and he was like, "What? That's how it's
So.
supposed to be."
I love that. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, here's a big one.
yeah.
Noise Boys. Now, I think this is the second time these are in hockey. These were in 2012 Flair Retro, but you actually, right before we started recording, told me something super interesting about the um, the material of these cards and what it's intended to do. Can you kind of go over that again?
Yeah, so this is a lenticular. It has a very dimensional feel to it, lenticular stock.
Yep.
And the nature of it is that it's very pliable. So you can actually bend them. And I did a video because the original, I took one of the originals and I was showing how you can bend it. And people were like, I didn't know that. I said, how could you
Yeah.
not know that? And they're like, well, I always had my cards slabbed. So when they're slabbed, you never even know that, but they are very pliable. So we've done, Upper Deck has done these where they attach them to a coated, like a C2S stock, and it makes it more rigid. So when they said they wanted to reproduce this set, I said, let's go back and try to do it the way that we did it on the original. So when you get this, you'll see it's a very pliable card, but that was intentional. I wanted it to be more like the original.
0 people are going to bend it, and we're all just going to take your word for it. I can pretty much guarantee. It's like, no. Gene says you can bend it in half. Just bend it right in half. Just do that.
I'll do a video of it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you should do a video of that. That would be.
Yeah.
Okay, now my favorite. This might be the last one. I love jambalaya cards. This year's has a very almost like pixelated or 16-bit sort of in both the font and the background is very pixelated. Do you know the artist Chuck Close?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I love so close.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of like looking at one of his paintings very close up or his drawing.
Oh,
Then you
yeah.
step back and it's like, oh wow, that's like a very detailed picture of something, but it's just a tiny little squares up
Yeah,
front.
it
So
looks
that's the
abstract until you pull it back and then you see that it makes an image on his stuff. Have you ever seen, so New York, there's a subway station that has um all these murals that have been done of his images, but they did them in mosaics. They're amazing. If
oh
you're in New
wow.
York, you have to go
I
and see
will.
that.
I will go check that out. So the
Yeah.
background for this, it is different and it's got a little more multicolored, got a lot of yellow to it. Is this just a material that you found that you thought, oh, this would be a perfect jambalaya background, or did you have it designed based on your specifications? How did it come about?
So Billy had in his mind exactly what he wanted for this one. Usually he's very flexible with what he'll do, but in
Yeah.
this case, he knew exactly he wanted this kind of digitized look to the card.
Okay.
It's on the same stock that it normally is on. It's on the dimensional, like lenticular stock still.
Perfect. Gotcha.
And it kind of follows that same die cut that they use usually.
Yeah, the very sort of classic and traditional jambalaya die cut. We're looking at the Connor Bedard example. Obviously, he's the core subject in this year's, uh, you know, given it's his rookie year.
Yep.
Well, there we go. A lot of cards.
So
There
we
is a
never
lot
got
of
the
different
card
designs.
that I told you was a strange one that Billy designed for this set.
Which one is it?
We had an idea. So it's constellations, and I can't tell you what it is because I know Billy wants people to be surprised when they see it. When you see them, you'll know what I mean. It's a
Okay.
puzzle card, and that's all I'll tell you about it.
All right. All right. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, and I really appreciate you giving us sort of it's amazing to get the tour behind some of these designs from the person that I know you don't do this entirely by yourself. There's a team of people that
Yes.
that you work with, and deserve a lot of credit for producing
For
amazing
sure.
designs. So, which one's your favorite though? Like, if you had to pick a card in this Metal
In this
universe
set,
that, yeah,
um, I would say I love the base cards this year. I really love them.
yeah,
I do. I'm really anxious to see that Martin site card. I think
yeah,
that's going to be really cool. But I do really like the base cards.
okay. Now, as far as like, what is there anything that you can think of that's coming out soon or in the not too distant future that, just from a design perspective, that you're pretty excited about?
EX2000. I can't wait for that to come out.
Me
So,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
You want to get in yourself in trouble and let us know when it's all coming out, or
I'm
would you
not
rather stay
sure
out of
because
HR?
that one has been a lot to get it produced the way that
Sure.
we want it to be. But yeah, I'm really anxious for that to come out.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I hope it's this year. That's my goal. But whenever it comes out, I'll be okay with. Well, like I said, Gene, thank you very, very much for taking all the time today to go through
sure.
Metal Universe. It's out now, so all the stuff that you know uh, before we've seen, like Martin Sight in hand. Lots of people will have it in hand, but I'm sure people will love it. And can't wait to talk to you soon.
Yes, great talking to you.
All right, thank you. We're back. Now, I don't think any of you have seen it yet because I just recorded it
Nope.
and I did it solo. So, very uh, fun way to recap. But Phil, you went and saw. What do you think of the interview, Josh? Well, I thought Gene was very insightful in certain ways. But, well, you did have an experience, though. You went to your card shop today, and it seems like Phil, despite your somewhat of a critique when we went through the checklist, you came back a smitten kitten when it came
Yeah.
to Metal Universe, didn't you?
Yes, big time. I have strong opinions, but my mind is always open to change with the proper evidence. I present to you metal. So I just held up the hobby box. Yeah, so I went into my LCS today looking for 180.1 touches for my growing collection, and I was at the cash, and Dan at Out of the Box in Ottawa, best store in Ottawa, he came to the counter, and we're just talking, and I looked down in the showcase, and I said, "Oh my goodness, what are those cards?" He goes, "Oh, I'm happy you saw that. We just opened up a case of metal." My eyes exploded. I was like, they're so colorful, well designed. So I take everything back. I'm super excited. I mean, I bought a box. I got to stop saying I don't buy boxes. Clearly, I buy boxes.
That's still sealed. That box is still sealed. You didn't open it yet?
Yeah, it's still sealed.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to open it, so I'm gonna. And I'm really excited to get a Skybox metal card. I hope I get one, but there's only one a case.
I hope you
I
do.
Yeah, I can't tell you the designs. I had to run in and out, but I'm very excited, and the cards are beautiful. Now, of course, I just saw all the hits. I didn't see any base cards, but it's just fun. I'm a space universe guy, and it's got that big theme, and yeah, I'm really excited. Smitten Kitten, absolutely.
Well, I do want to mention that one aspect of it, the base card design. And Jean goes through the whole thought process on the interview where she says that, Metal Universe said the whole intention of the set and everything they did at Skybox back in the 90s was really experimental. And that was sort of their sandbox to get a little weird with stuff and try new things. And I understand when people will say stuff like that, well, I don't want spaceships in my cards. But if you kind of regress to the mean every time you design something, the hobby would die because nothing would ever evolve. There would never be anything new. There would never be any new doors that have opened to sort of like what collectors like and cherish and want to chase. And that the whole point of metal when they first designed it was to either have that kind of that metallic sort of feel and then be universal or otherworldly. And so actually by her coming back to designing it, it really sort of fits the original theme and thought process that went behind Metal Universe. And if it's not for you, if you don't want spaceships on your base cards, then the good news is like every week Upper Deck releases a set and just buy something else, right? I mean, I think that we have to that sometimes we all get a little too like hypercritical about stuff like this and it don't maybe take a look at the big picture where we can account for the fact that in a release calendar, when you do have new sets that come out almost every week, that gives Upper Deck the opportunity to take chances and design different sets with different themes that could appeal to some people more than others.
Well, it got me. This is the first time I've ever liked PMGs.
Did you buy a box,
Mhm.
Louis?
No.
No. Josh got a box. Josh got a box, and he got a Skybox card. Yeah, I ranted and raved for 60 seconds how great it was.
I just ruined the whole Instagram video.
Oh, I did?
No, just kidding.
I'm sorry.
You owe me $7 million. No.
What are you talking
You
about?
you owe him 50 views.
I want that card. I want it. We're gonna trade. You're gonna trade your buddy Phil.
Well, so again, thank you very, very much to Jean for taking the time to come on the show and talk about her beautiful design. Really, really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. All right, into new product releases. A reminder, new product releases segment is brought to you by our friends at Mint Ink. You can check out mintink.ca for all your hobby boxes in Canada. Singles too, you can join some of their breaks. Well, just yesterday, 2024-25 Series 1, the checklist came out. And any flagship series, right, the big thing is who's on the Young Guns checklist. And so another huge release. We just had Cup, we've had Platinum, we've had Metal, now Series 1. Kind of fun on one hand, overwhelming a little bit too, maybe on the other hand, though. But we thought we would take the time. We're going to break up the 2024-25 checklist. We're going to do the Young Guns today, and then on Monday, we'll look at some of the inserts and other interesting cards. And I got to say, I'm kind of liking this checklist for Series 1. Louis, we're going to know a lot of the names from when we were at the Rookie Showcase last month, but let's roll through the highlights. So how we did this, like graphically, if you're watching on YouTube, and even if you're listening, we did an Instagram post that there was 16 players on a tile, I guess is what they're called in the graphic. And so it's 4 different groups of, 3 groups of 16 and 1 group of 2. And so we're just going to kind of look at them that way and see what we think. So we ready with the first one? So the first group, again, in Series 1, the Young Guns always start at card number 201. And in the first 16 here, there's some pretty decent names. Our boy Troy, Jesper Wallstedt and Louis from the Wild. Hopefully he gets to play this year.
Maybe
a
we'll
little
see
bit,
him.
but
They're carrying them. They're carrying 3 goalies. I don't know how it's going to work, but they're
So
doing
dumb.
No way.
Dumb.
Yes, the Wild are carrying 3 goalies on the roster right now.
What's wrong with your team?
We don't want no e-bug. We don't want no e-bug.
I don't know what that means.
we're paying more than Shesterkin money to players that don't play for us, and we're carrying 3 goalies.
Phil, e-bug's emergency backup goalie. So like the Zamboni driver that gets to play once every 5 years.
Got
that's
it.
the e-bug.
Right on. Okay, good.
So yeah, card number 202 is Jesper Wallstedt. Card number 207, Gavin Brindley of the Blue Jackets, even though he went to Michigan. I guess another rival of the U of M, the real U of M, Minnesota, Phil.
Yeah.
Do the Blue Jackets know that they're allowed to draft players that didn't go to Michigan? Every guy. It's Ken Johnson. Who's the defenseman too? I forget his name. And then you have Antilli. You have Gavin Brindley. It's crazy. 212 is Flyers legend Cutter Gauthier. So that'll be a big one. Now he's with the Ducks, of course.
Shots fired. Everyone in Philly just basically quit the show.
He should be a pretty big chase out of the gate. So number 212, Cutter Gauthier. No, card number 215, Bork. There's been some buzz around him this summer. Louis was excited to see him. He was supposed to be a rookie showcase, but I don't think showed up, right, Louis?
Correct. Kind of a bummer.
Did Luca Del?
That was another Baba Louie hobby hot take.
Oh, I almost stepped on it. I almost stepped on the touchdown call right there.
You have a Bork comment, Troy?
No, I was just saying, was Luca Del Bel Belouz at the rookie showcase?
Was that not the best name?
He's my
ever?
favorite player. He's now my favorite player. I'm going to PC him.
Sweet.
No, Matt Molson's the best hockey name.
Oh, that's a good one.
I was waiting for the shot on Maverick Bork like he's a bad person because his last name is Bork.
I'm not even saying that B word anymore.
Is he related?
I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
You got to quit asking me questions when I'm busy researching other things and catching me off guard there, Buckwheat.
How's
So,
that? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Phil.
Oh, I was gonna say what you're about to say.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say is 215 as a card number. Is that what you're going
Oh,
to say?
okay. No, I was gonna add a digit to that and say, hey, what about that? Say it. Say the thing.
I don't know
216.
what you're talking-
I'm saying say 216.
Oh, yeah, 216 is next. That's the Empire State Building.
Yeah. How's that gonna
Right.
go? Like, how is a fighter like? What's his cards gonna be worth? Like, it's kind of odd.
That's I actually wrote that down in our notes. A question
Yeah.
that I want to get all your opinions on is he a novelty, or do you think there's a serious hobby chase?
I like
No.
him. I want his young gun. Yeah, why not?
He's a super cool dude.
Yeah.
After listening to his
Oh, yeah.
interviews at the showcase, but really, I don't
I think he's a novelty for now.
novelty.
Unless he can. And listen, there was a time and a place for this type of player. I don't think it's in today's NHL. Now he can always grow and be productive on the offensive end, but I don't think now he's only played 17 games? 17
Yeah.
games. So, and 2 points, that's not going to cut it in the NHL.
You can't. He's got to be better than the traditional enforcer, though. He can play
Yeah.
hockey. He can play hockey. He couldn't have made it to the show this far without having some type of skill.
Well, I'll say that's every enforcer. Like, we do research on those guys.
Yeah.
Every one of those guys like scored a ton when the juniors.
So let's see what happens. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think he's good for the league. He's good.
Always great for the league
Yeah.
personality, but nothing I've seen him on his skill set on the ice has really excited me.
Okay,
And
good.
I don't
Well,
like
the first-
I don't like him chasing people. Like he
Yeah.
seems to buy into the goon a little too much. Like
Well, he needs a good mentor. Hopefully, there's someone
Yeah.
there on the Rangers who'll be like, "Listen, dude, be yourself, but keep the color between the lines a little bit more."
Well, I think Trouba would be that guy to talk to him because he's kind of a BA in his own way, but he can control himself. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure. You're getting a lot of advice from other enforcers of yesteryear too. I think you mentioned that at the rookie showcase as well. So in the first 16 players of 50 that are on the checklist, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are pretty decent names. So that's not a bad start in my opinion. So now we'll look at the next group of 16. A couple notable players on this one. Once we get the graphic.
Sorry, I was trying to look up Shakir. I can't say his last name
What up?
because he's
Whatever.
from
Whatever.
Russia. I didn't realize he was from Russia.
So, and then on the next 16 at card number 227 is Frank Nazar, another kid that went to Michigan, of course, part of the Blackhawks organization. He was sent to the AHL to start the season. He's just 20 years old, though, so no big deal there. A lot of people think he has a lot of promise. Then one of the biggies,
Yeah.
because he's very, very good and he plays for the Canadiens, is Lane Hudson, who could be a sneaky Calder candidate. I sorry for repeating this, but I will never not think of this. He looked like he was like 8 years old.
Mhm.
It was shockingly how young he looks, but man, so many people just rave about his game and to start the season, the Canadiens have him and he's in a top 4 defense role
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
and
That's
power
wild.
play in the quarterback in the second power play unit. So
I don't know. Be careful with that. I would have said
29. Then we're on to kind of the third group of 16.
Oh,
This
hold
one-
on. Do you think Fedotov will fit on his card? Do you think they have enough
I don't
real
know.
estate to put him on there?
He's a big boy.
Well, that's a goalie from Philly. He's like 6'8".
Oh, he's that big lad, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, massive,
Yep.
massive. Card 233 is Josh Doan, Coyotes legend.
Yep.
Josh Doan. It is kind of cool that I've seen. This was on our Instagram too. A comment that it's going to be a bummer, I think, for a lot of the Utah fans. And oh man, were they excited yesterday? And kind of what a great first day for the franchise. But
Yeah.
most of their rookies this year, and probably bleeding into next, are going to be in Coyotes jerseys.
Yep.
There is the nice part, given that Josh's dad played for the Coyotes, so they'll be in the same sweater as father and son there.
Aw.
Aw. But
Aw, so cute.
so we'll see how good of a player he is, but I'm sure again, if you're a Utah fan and in a new market, that they'll be chasing his rookies there. Number 236 is Olin Zellweger. We interviewed him at the rookie showcase with Cutter Gauthier. He's a young defenseman. He played 26 games last year, had 9 points with the Ducks last spring. So again, pretty decent start, and I think there'll be somewhat of a chase for him. Man, the Ducks have like 20 young guys, so I think it'll be a matter of who
Yeah.
shakes out. Number 244 is Logan Stankoven, who's a Calder candidate favorite for the Dallas Stars, of course. And yeah, I think he'll probably be one of the bigger chases. At card number 248 is Liam Ogren for the Wild. There's a little bit of a homer pick there. And I don't know, have you guys heard much about Ogren? Are you excited about him from just a Wild fan standpoint?
I haven't heard much, listening to any interviews or reading anything, but just watching the minimal of times he got in last year, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I thought he's going to fit in real well.
And actually, the Wild will probably be one of the more expensive break spots when looking at case breaks or something like that, because they really have three guys. There's Wallstedt, Ogren, and then
Come on, you can do it.
Who's nutting off? Say right? Did I say right, Louis?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's
Don't
got a
worry.
little bit of promise too. So
Don't worry, we still have 14 million tied up in Parisi and Suter this year, so it's cool.
that's it.
This is it, though.
14.7 million. Next year drops combined 1.6.
Yes.
Oh, you
the
do
news
like
seems
this
to be
stuff,
that.
Troy. Holy moly, you know it.
Oh, I love this cap stuff.
No wonder
Have you
and
ever read?
Hasselhoff-
I've read it. I can't even remember anything in it, but the collective bargaining agreement is fascinating.
Oh, it's all yours, buddy. You and Hasselhoff can read each other each chapters all night. I'll go to bed.
And then the final two players on the checklist of the final two, I feel like we should mention it. Card number 250 is always the checklist. This
Yeah.
for Series 1 will be Cutter Gauthier and Logan Stankoven. Probably the logical choice, I would say. And then 249 is Lucas Cormier. Is that like Sylvan's brother from another mother or something like that?
There
Maybe.
we go.
Oh.
This
All right,
is a great Series 1. This is awesome. Really nice.
Yeah, so we got tons and tons of comments on Instagram. It's actually really interesting to look through. I'm kind of checking really quick to see what the updated total is. Like I said, it was a lot. Of course,
It needed to be strong though. After the Bedard year, we needed. I hope this year goes really well for a lot of these young lads.
42 comments on the post already, and what a lot of people were saying, which I think I kind of agree with, is Series 1 is lacking that huge star, the Macklin, maybe what Macklin Celebrini would be.
Yeah.
But it's pretty deep. And what I like about this, just from my perspective, is so if you go through all the guys we went through, I'll minus the checklist because that has steam for about 2 days, and then it is a dollar card. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11 pretty decent names. And if you get 6 young guns in a box and there's 50 total, that you should get at least on average 1 or 2 pretty good names in a box. So I like that. I mean, I versus like the Bedard, where it kind of felt like, especially at the price point it was at, that if you didn't hit the Bedard, your box was impossible.
Yeah.
Hey,
Really valuable.
Yes.
I got breaking news for you guys. Oh, never mind. It's over. Sorry. I had breaking news for you
Did
guys.
you have the card or something?
No, top loader binders on Prime Day were going for $7.
What?
The one thing I didn't even look for, I was looking for all this other crap today. and
I
didn't
tried to
look
buy-
yesterday.
I tried to buy a bunch of one touches for Prime Day, but there aren't any good ones.
Oh, it was a flash deal, $7, but now it's over.
Oh.
Okay, I want to get your thoughts on this, but I think the price is important, so let's go through that really quick first. So you can get Series 1 pre-sales still through our partner Mint Inc. if you're in Canada, mintinc.ca for 150 Canadian. And then in the US, it's pretty much spot on with US prices, about 120 US. So where we had $300-$400 boxes for Series 2,
Right.
now back in the 120 range. And so here's my question to you guys. Given the depth, even though there's not a high name, but we're at 150 Canadian, 120 US. What do you think of the checklist, and does it make you excited to go and buy boxes?
Troy?
Yes, I am definitely going to buy boxes. Box or boxes. I think price came down to reality. I would like it a little cheaper, but I'm fine with it, given what was last year. Hey, you got Bedard's second-year cards. Everyone wants second-year cards, right? But no, I
Gretzky's
think-
second year is big, bro.
Yeah, I think it's a great. I mean, we got a good young guns class.
Yeah.
Now, Phil,
I-
are you gonna hate on it right now and then see it
No.
at the card shop and buy a bunch?
No, I know.
Case.
I listen. Every year I buy a case of Flagship. I think this might be the first year in many years I might skip. There's just too many other things I want, but I am very impressed with that Young Guns checklist, and I even like the design. I think the design's really, really nice this year.
I'm gonna
So
call
no,
this
I'm not
the-
buying it, but I'm all for it.
I'm gonna call it the 24-25 Series 1 sleeper young gun list.
Ooh.
There's a lot
There
of
you
good
go.
ones
Do the
on
thing.
here.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Do
Well, that was
the.
a good- all right, fine.
That was another Baba Louie hobby hot take.
I love how me and Phil like look at each other. We're like, dude,
I'm even gonna throw in a,
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
on top of it too.
Right
Oh,
on.
I like it, Louis. That's a good.
There's a
Hey.
lot of under the radar here, and I think they just start collecting them all. I think something could blow up.
Yeah, one or
Who's the
two.
guy for you? Like of the guys that we mentioned, who's the one you're most excited about, Louis?
I'm gonna go with Maverick Bork.
Really? You're a
Yep.
Maverick Bork guy. All right. Well, we'll see how that shakes out. All right, we're back. We had to take a little break because of hockey practice for Troy. Son had hockey tonight, and it's time. We weren't able to finish the show. We got to go through our Fanatics Collect weekly preview. Phil's no longer with us. He's in Sleepy Land over there in Ottawa. And a reminder that Fanatics Collect is a Gongshow partner sponsor. Of course, we're grateful for their support. The October premiere auction starts tonight. You want to check out fanaticscollect.com, scope out all the hockey grails that will be available this month. The premiere auction runs through the evening of October 24th, so for 2 weeks. I keep telling you all not to sleep on their buy now marketplace. I was in there a little bit today, and you got to check out the buy now real quick, Troy.
all right.
So here's a card. If somebody doesn't buy it by the time I get back, I might have to pick it up. So go into hockey, and under recent listings, there's, I don't even know if it's a fair price or not, but I just thought it's a good deal. There's a Vazzy, if you're sorted by most recent, right there, Day with the Cup PSA 10 for $50.
Oh yeah.
That's a nice card. Those are super tough to hit.
That's cool.
I like
I
that.
never see. I don't know that I've really ever seen many of those Day with the Cup cards.
They're tough chases.
Yeah,
on
they're
flagship,
super tough.
and definitely undervalued there too. So there's tons of cool cards like that at really decent prices. So again, don't sleep on the Fanatics Collect buy now marketplace. But it is the current weekly auction that we're really here to talk about. It's live, ends this upcoming Sunday night. Troy, Baba Louie, and I have each gone through the auction and picked out our favorite vintage and modern card to highlight to learn more about. And we're going to start like we always do with our favorite vintage cards. Okay, so my first pick was the 1960 Parkhurst Gordie Howe PSA 8. Wasn't my first pick. Actually, it's my second pick. There's a 51 Parkey PSA 1.5 that I spent about 45 minutes doing a write-up on today. And I kept thinking the whole time, this card is like really familiar to me.
Yeah.
And had a little bit of crease in it. I'm like, God, I feel like I've seen that. Well, lo and behold, it's the same card I previewed on September 22nd and almost had written up the exact same thing. I literally wasted 45 minutes of my life like researching a card that, and it would be one thing if my excuse was I did it 6 months ago. That was like what, 2 weeks ago, and I can't. So when we say like we don't remember anything on the show, oh my gosh! So I had to find another one, but this one is really cool. Nice looking card. Obviously, one of hockey's most iconic players. I love the contrast in the 60 Parkhurst. In the case of Gordie Howe, there's a solid blue background behind the picture of Gord Howe,
Gord.
as it says on the front of the card. I'd be so disappointed if my name was Gordy and they put Gord
Gord.
on. I wonder if he threw a fit. He probably never
Why do they do that?
I don't know. Maybe some people called him Gord. Maybe Parkhurst took some license. No idea.
They ran out of the I and the E for the
Yeah.
for the print type or whatever.
The Gutenberg press or whatever
Yeah,
they
the Gutenberg
used.
press. There's for some reason Instagram thinks I must really like old timey press machines because I always get these reels where it's this old dude and he's got to put actual letter, like I don't know what you call them, little metal
Printing
squares.
plates, right?
Yeah, and he puts them on, then he inks them, and then he pulls this big lever, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a very manual process back in the day. That's like it was a big deal, like print the Bible and stuff whenever they did that for the first time. Well, so the 1960 Parkhurst is not his rookie, as we've already gone through. That's the 51.
Yep.
But it is eerily similar, though, Troy, to the 1961
Yes.
Parkhurst. As much crap as we give Upper Deck and other companies for kind of mailing in certain things today, that's pretty sad, isn't it? They basically just changed the background from one year to the next. Use the exact same picture in 1960 as in 61. And yeah. So I don't know. I think I do prefer the 1960 though. I just like the simplicity of the design and the contrast of the color there.
The Red Wings logo things reminds me of the Windows screensaver when the little square windows with the wings would go flying by.
Flying by. 100% there.
Boy, that's dating some of us.
Yeah. What was that? Windows 3.1?
3.5. At PSA 8, the pop is 91 with 27 graded higher. There's 8 PSA 8.5s, 19 PSA 9s, and 0 PSA 10s. So there's no PSA 10s of this card. The last sale of a 1960 Parkhurst Gord Howe PSA 8 was $810 this past May. Okay, now check this out. This is crazy and maybe suspect, maybe not. The all-time high is $3,500 US in July of 2023. It was via eBay. The card is a horrible picture. And obviously, it seems like a crazy high price for the card. It was paid for in Terapeak. So I personally wouldn't use that as a comp for this card. I think probably the $700, $800, $900 range is more close to it. But again, once again, this points out some of the flaws in the system of comps because there's nothing outwardly illegitimate about that $3,500 sale in July of 2023. It just seems hard to believe that it's 4 times what the card would normally sell.
Right.
You got a current bid?
It is $340 US. All
right, you got the next one, Troy.
I do. All right, we're gonna bring it up here. Oh, I did a 51 Parky, so I picked up the slack. Josh moved on from a card he did a couple weeks ago, so I decided to do the 51 Parky. So I did a 51 Parkhurst Butch Bouchard rookie card, BVG 2 grade.
What's up, Butch?
BVG I'd give up. Like I'm so done with Beckett and all their stuff. I'm just like, it's a BVG 2. You go look up the pop count because I'm not doing it. I don't even figure. I
refuse to go to Beckett's website.
I refuse. So again, 51 Parky, BVG 2 grade. So if we look at the shape of the card, let's see. Front of the card looks it's all right. I mean, it's a 2.
It's perfectly rounded.
Perfectly rounded corners, which is, hey, we like uniformity. If they're going to be rounded, right, we want uniformity. These are. We got on the front.
Is that a crease?
It's a crease.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's a crease running from the left border to about his ankle, it looks like. So be aware of that. Again, it's a low-graded card. However, the picture itself is actually pretty decent. Like the color looks really nice. So this is one of those, maybe you're just starting your 51 Parky collection or you just wanted to get one. This should be a fairly reasonable price to get one in this condition. Obviously, centering is off. Edges look actually pretty good. I mean, and there's still some colorings. I don't know. I'm not going to say staining, but there's some darkenings. This might be a ring light down here. I don't know what's going down with the bottom here, but maybe it's on the card. There's kind of a black marks. I mean, again, it's an old card, BVG2. It's cockeyed in the holder.
Yeah, do you have to pay extra for that? Does Beckett?
Yeah. Well, I would sit there and get it and then like sit there and constantly beat on it the other way to see. Yeah. Boy, that was not good. Go out with the bang, I guess. And then
you're done.
And I'm done. And then the back. Let's look at the back. Back, we got something going on here. So I don't know if it's water damage. Dog decided to gnaw on it. But again, it's on the back. It doesn't look like it goes all the way through. So it looks like I mean, there's some color here, so it looks like it
Mhm.
almost went through probably his legs. I'm guessing his
No,
socks.
it'd be the other side.
Oh, duh.
Be over by his stick in the
Yeah,
crease.
Did you notice how
I don't know.
bulbous his knee is?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy bad. I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, they're drawings, right? These aren't like photos, but again, actually for the player on the card, it looks pretty good, but there are some issues. Just be aware. BVG2. Now we got to learn about our boy because we've never had this guy on. We never read about him or did anything with him. Joseph Emile. I need Phil. Alcide. Alcide.
I'll today.
Butch Bouchard.
Butch is easier. I like Butch.
Butch way easier. Butch plays a defense when he played 15 seasons in the NHL, all with Montreal. 49 goals, 144 assists, 193 points, 768 games. Hall of Famer, 4-time Cup winner, 3-time NHL first All-Star team, 1-time NHL second All team, captain of the Canadiens for 8 seasons.
Hold on, timeout. Never mind. Answered my own question. Defenseman. I'm like, Hall of Fame, 49 goals. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So now that's all we need to know about his hockey playing days. He's got way too many fun facts for us. So here we go. Why was he called Butch? I wanted to know. His teammate Bob Fillion gave Bouchard the nickname Butch. It originated due to the resemblance of his last name due to the English word butcher. Hence, Butch. Makes sense. Bouchard. To attend training camp, Bouchard would ride his bike 50 miles, which allowed him to keep the travel expenses the Canadiens had allotted him. Savvy, keeping that money. A fight involving Bouchard led to a significant change in the role of referees in the NHL. During the 1946-47 season, Bouchard became involved in a prolonged and one-sided fight with Boston's Terry Reardon. Due to the fight, Clarence Campbell, president of the NHL, added to the duties of referees. For the first time, they had to the responsibility of breaking up fights. Never knew that. I thought that was always part of the game. But now it was actually written in paper that the refs have to break up the fights and they can't just keep pounding on each other.
What were they expected to do before? Just like watch or
maybe
cheer,
get
play
tired.
bets with each other? It's like, I got $5 on Bouchard. Who do you got?
Yeah, that's nuts. In March 1947, in a game in Boston, as the Canadiens were coming back onto the ice for the beginning of the third period, a female fan attacked Bouchard, spearing him with a hat pin. Bouchard responded by pushing the woman away forcefully. A few moments later, Boston police were leading Bouchard out to a police car. According to Bouchard, Pat Egan of the Boston Bruins interceded and talked the police out of his arrest.
Jeez.
I love old-time hockey. In the 70s, our boy, Butch Bouchard's son, Pierre Bouchard, also a defenseman, played for the Canadiens, while father, Emile, participated in the birth of the Montreal Canadiens dynasty. 30 years later, son Pierre played a part in continuing the Canadiens dynasty in the 70s. With Butch's 4 and Pierre's 5 Stanley Cups, they have the distinction of winning the most Stanley Cups of any father-son combo in NHL history. How about that? Bobby and Brett Hull are the only other father and son to have won the cup. That's some trivia. I don't know if that's still true. This is all Wikipedia, folks. Just remember that.
So did Butch Bouchard have Pierre Bouchard, and then Pierre Bouchard had Pierre-Marc Bouchard?
I don't know. I tried to find some. I couldn't find anything. There's a lot of Bouchards rolling around the NHL, so I figure they're all related some way. All right. Finally, a reporter once asked the Kenny Bouchard what he thought of coaching methods in the NHL. He replied, and remember, this is way back when, hockey should be more like football with a coach for defense, one for offense, and maybe one for the goalies. Boy, this guy was about 40 years ahead of his time because that's eventually what the game went to.
Yeah, you're a fan. He's a proponent of goalie coaches.
Yeah, goalie coaches. Got to have your goalie coaches. Yeah, this guy's fascinating. There's a ton more stats about him. He went into business, ran a restaurant. The mob tried to shake him down and hire their people.
Jeez.
And he just replied, over my dead body, and they backed down. It's crazy. And he was a big dude. He was like 6'3". And when he played, the average height was 5'11", so he just basically towered over everyone, kind of like how Fedotov towers over everyone now. All right, let's go back to this card. That was enough of Bouchard. That card sold previously in the Fanatics Collect weekly auction on October 22nd of 2023 for $50.40 US. Current bid is $12 US.
Ka-ching.
What percentage of the players in 1951 Parkhurst are in the Hall of Fame? Because I feel like
it's a lot.
All
It's
of
like
them
every time we look, it probably isn't. We just always look at the good ones.
All right, Baba Louie, you got the last vintage one.
You want that? You want to talk about the back again?
Yeah, why not? 1995 Bowman's Best Refractor, Peter Forsberg, PSA 9. Now, I don't know why this really looks familiar, but I hope it hasn't come up before.
I don't think so.
Okay, but I think we have seen maybe Bowman refractors.
For sure.
Anywho, I don't know why you'd want to part with this one, but everybody's got their reasons. So, we're going to start first with Mr. Forsberg, Triple Gold Club member.
Are you dating his
favorite.
daughter? Is that what you call him, Mr. or something?
Yes, Mr. Peter Forsberg.
Okay.
Triple Gold Club member for winning the Stanley Cup, Olympic gold medal, and the World Championship gold medal. Did you know that Mr. Forsberg is the only Swede to have won each of the 3 major international hockey championships twice?
God, I feel like
you
need a button bar for that. Like, hit it and freaking whoa, triple gold member.
Double, triple.
Do we know what each of the 3 major international hockey competitions are?
Well, it says international hockey competitions, but I know he won the Stanley Cup twice.
I'm guessing the international's got to be the World Championships, the World Juniors,
World Juniors,
and the Olympics.
and the Olympics. So
okay, you're probably right.
Then we'll throw in the Stanley Cup twice. So what do we make? 4 things twice. His nickname was Fopa, which has no specific translation to anything in Swedish or anything I could find. That's all they just say. That was his nickname. Did you guys know that he had ligament issues in his feet?
I did.
Other than all the other injuries he had?
I did.
He had
that's kind of what caused the end of his career, right? His feet issues.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the worst of it all. Of all the significant injuries that poor guy seemed to have had. He had multiple different types of braces to help the issue. So, onto this wonderful card. From what I could dig up, there's 20 of these refractors in the 95 Bowman's Best Refractor set. Excuse me. I also noticed while I was playing around in there, there's a Marty Brodeur in that set, so I may, and I stress might have a personal pickup sometime in the future to share.
There you go.
As for this PSA 9 grade, looking at the card, there's maybe a little blem, the bottom left of the Bowman's Best logo, Troy.
No,
so
below.
Up.
Sorry, I'm way off. There we go.
I don't know if
Right
that's
there.
on the case of the card. That's the only thing I could find. I didn't even mess around with the back, Josh. I'm sorry.
I have it
Devastated.
there.
The card is simple, just to describe it for people that can't see it. Simple and highlights what you want on the front of a well-designed hockey card to look like. I guess I kind of lied. I did go to the back. One quirk for me is that the image on the back is exactly the same as the one on the front, but just cropped differently.
Oh yeah.
According to the PSA Pop report, there are 10 total graded, with 8 graded as 9s, and then there's 2 graded 10 copies. The last sale of a PSA 9 was September 1st back in 2022 for $13.50, and currently this one's already above that at $19 USD.
Nice. New record sale?
Yes.
Maybe, possibly.
59. Oh, 19. These are really nice to handle because they get a nice little like rainbow refraction on them.
Yep.
That's crazy that it's so low pop and doesn't sells for less than $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I had to
Yeah.
look a couple times. I'm like, I'm doing something wrong here. But nope.
Okay, we're gonna move on to modern. So my pick is a 2021 UD Stature design variant. Austin Matthews patch auto 101 BGS 8.5 10.
You want me to play the role of Phil? Oh,
Oh,
terrible.
I hate the blue and white. Shane Pinto. He's gonna have
Poor Phil.
6,000
Okay.
goals. That's what I bought.
They can't even
93 Young Guns today of Shane Pinto.
they can't even print a nice jersey. Look at it. It's falling apart in the car.
that's
Now, I'll admit
fine.
I'm not as big of a stature guy as you are, Troy, or you probably, Louis, too. But I will admit the patch autos on stature are
They're
all
sick.
really nice.
They're all
Awesome.
nice. I don't think I've seen one where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's like they used all the best patches in stature. Like they
Yeah.
didn't do any one color napkin deals or anything like that. I think this one
Mhm.
features probably like the top part of Toronto. It looks like a
Yeah.
TO. It's got Troy's little hanging thread. Which
yeah, you know, it's been used. It's been
I
used.
hate,
He
I hate that.
he probably got punched there and started laughing because he was afraid to fight back and everyone got mad at him.
It is an 8.5. I think the biggest knock on the grade is centering. It's a little bit off left to right, but it doesn't really matter. While the card's graded 8.5, I give the mustache a solid 9.5 gem mint. Very,
the
very
card,
nice
yeah, look at
mustache.
that.
He's a little concerned. He's got a little worry on his face there. Oh, he's got something under the lip, too. A little dust under the lip
Oh,
here
little,
going on. AM34. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, stop now, Troy.
I really like these cards. The one thing, and we've talked a lot about stature and the plethora of 101s, is I'm just not sure I'd want to pay the 101 tax
Yeah.
on a card like this because it's not that unique or
It
special.
might be
of
the
a
sixth
101.
one of one in stature.
It's the design color purple variation where he's looking left, right? I mean, it's like there's so many different parallels in stature. This card already did sell once on eBay back in February for
Ooh.
$2,810 US dollars. It was still a raw card at that point. So whoever
Wow.
bought it looks like they had it graded. I don't know. The
Ooh.
more time that goes on, the less I'm convinced that grading a card like this makes any sense. I mean, I suppose maybe
Right.
auto with the 10 grade, that helps maybe a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what are the odds that they get close to
no
2,800 again on this
way, right?
card?
No way.
Yeah, I don't
2,800.
think so. I mean, I think around 1,000 is probably appropriate, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Maybe
1,500.
15.
To the
Okay.
right collector. I mean, it's
Mhm.
Toronto. They're gonna go nuts for it.
Or if somebody like wanted to get all like 27 of the 101s in your stature, the 101 rainbow or whatever you call it. I
Yeah.
don't know. You got a current bid?
$550 US dollars. All right. There we go. This one's gonna be short, baby. Back to since I am our resident Panini expert, I
Mhm.
went back to the well. 2011 Dominion or Panini Dominion. Peerless Steven Stamkos patch auto out of 40. Get it out of the slab, but if you want it in the slab, it's BGS 8.5. BGS Pop 101, just one graded higher. So the only reason I'm showing you this because I think it is just a very, very cool looking card. It is busy, but I love how it's sectioned
Mhm.
into quadrants. You have the picture in the upper left. Now, let me say this too. I don't mind this one as a horizontal card. I think they made it work. You got upper left quadrant, Stamkos with hockey mouth, bottom left, like a legit perfect auto, man. This thing,
Mhm.
there's like no pen coming up anywhere. It is really nice. Top right, you have the Panini Dominion hockey with the lightning bolt for the lightning. And then bottom right, you have your patch. And really nice. I think they did this is just a fantastic card. I would love for this to come back. I want to see this card like with new players or legendary players. Somehow Panini get into hockey, I guess. I don't know, but just a great, great looking card. Slight knock on the card. If you read the back, this is player worn. They don't say game worn. So I don't know if that was like, I have no clue if that's how Panini operated. Half the time Panini, I just don't know what they're doing. So them and their sticker autos. At least this one's on card, so that's nice. Last sale I could find of this card was a raw copy. I found that on January 24th of 2022 via eBay verified in Terapeak for $75 US. Current bid on this is $72 US. I bet it goes for double that last sale for sure. I think this is just an awesome card.
That's crazy low for this card. It is a very
Yeah.
nice card. And Predators legend Steven Stamkos. Come on.
Predators legend. Have they played yet for the Predators? Have they had a game yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Maybe tomorrow, something like or today in podcast land.
Time warp.
Our last one, Baba Louie.
Bringing up the rear, 2023 Black Diamond Exquisite. I'm sorry. Connor Bedard, rookie patch out of 349. It's a CGC authentic.
I'm just gonna show that.
Yeah. So, unlike Stature, I have to be honest here and say I didn't think that there would be such a big blah patch on an exquisite card. But to find out with these exquisite cards, that 19 or 20 that I looked at that were sold, all were just like this. Either a black patch, red patch, or a white patch on it. And a jumbo patch to boot. The card is 3/4 patch with little Bedsy peeking out behind it. I like the design in the background, though. I think that's sweet looking. The Upper Deck logo and the Blackhawks logo and how they did it all. I also, when I saw authentic, wanted to dig into the world of CGC because I don't spend a lot of time looking at their stuff and see what AU grade was from them. So CGC authentic Troy, I wanted to dig in just to see what their little explanation was for that. And it's used for cards that are authentic and unaltered, but cannot receive a numeric grade. It's card with missing portion of stock, such as when a card was meant to be hand cut, falls below the published measurement tolerance. Like an earliest 20th century strip card, authentic will also be used if a card is below the minimum size requirements.
It's probably the case in this one.
Okay, so why I ended up going into that. Looking through the auction, there's another Bedsy card in the auction, also graded by CGC, that received the authentic grade as well, and it's a 2023 SPX Finite Green. So I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that. Why? I mean, I just find it funny that there's two
It's
in
probably below the minimum size requirement or something like that. Or I don't know if in the case of CGC, you can choose to have the authentic if you don't want the number grade, if you just want the card authenticated. Is the patch game used, or I don't know why you would do that, but
it is certified to have been worn by the featured player.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, then this part probably makes sense. So back to the card itself, it has corner and edge issues all over it.
Sure.
So, and it seems to be a common theme with a bunch of other ones I looked at. I did see the highest one I could find graded by PSA or anybody else online for sale right now was only a 6. Of the cards that I had found that had sold, all 19 except one BGS 8, and this one were graded. So this one authentic, the 8, and then that other 6 I found that's for sale, not sold. Last sale for this card was September 5th, 2024, raw at $259.03 USD. Now, oddly, the BGS 8 sold September 2nd for $90 US, which I thought was odd.
Now, did you pick this card because it's something that you just thought was interesting, or it's something that you?
I thought it was interesting. I was looking at it's just I don't want this. I can't stand that patch because it's. But I thought, why are all his cards just a blank patch, black, white, red? And then I was looking at other cards, and I saw another Bedsy authentic graded by CGC. So, just something to talk about.
Yeah, I wonder if all the rookie relics in Black Diamond that are exquisite. Like, I wonder if they're all like this with the big singular patch, or is this just a one-off? Or
I don't know. I just looked at his, and everything I looked at in Terapeak, all the sold cards
were just one color.
Were all one solid color.
They've
So,
had to do, well, I'm sure that Upper Deck took every opportunity to make some sort of jersey or patch card out of Bedard. Like there was no swatch of cloth left.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And I'm sure the
Right.
sick stuff went to like the cup, right?
sure.
I
And
That's-
absolutely fair enough. I mean, yeah, okay, so for me, I know I wouldn't buy it, but
Mhm.
Someone will.
somebody will. Current
Of
bid,
course.
somebody's trying to, because current bid so far is $62 US.
Mm.
All right, to bid on any of these 6 fantastic cards or any of the other amazing cards available in the current Fanatics Collect weekly auction, visit fanaticscollect.com. All right, personal pickups, Troy. You got any?
Well, I started ripping open my case of Parker's Champions since I'm not going to Rip Party.
How'd
And
that go?
I'm depressed that I did. It has been brutal. The only auto. So I have 3 boxes left. I've gotten half autos. So I've opened 9, 5 mems and 4 autos.
But that's about the average, right?
Yeah, it should. You
Yeah.
either get a mem or an auto in a card or in a box. But the autos have been not good. Not good.
Really?
The only good one is I got a Saku Koivu, which good for me. Saku Koivu Parker's mini auto, which I like,
Cool.
but obviously it's not worth that much. And then
Those mini autos are pretty cool, though.
yeah, and then I got a wire image Jordan Eberle purple auto, and of course the auto was signed in like blue ink, so you can't. It just blends in with
Can't
the
see it.
card. I just kind of chuckled when I pulled it. I was like, all right.
He didn't even make the Kraken Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Well, I
You
did.
only need,
I did. One of the mem cards was I don't even know what is it a memorabilia card? It's a memorabilia card. I want to say patch, but they're all like one colors. I got a Johnny Gaudreau, and he's in Calgary, but I'm pretty sure it's a Columbus. It looks like it's got a tint of blue, and I don't think the Flames ever
Kinda
wore
sad.
pictures. Yeah, like I said, I think I told you this. I like opened that, and then I just got sad. I was like, okay.
anything for you, Baba Louie?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, me neither. We've been busy testing. Been kind of hard to shop for cards, kind of saving up for the Expo too. Well, that's our show. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gong Show Discord server, Troy will still be there, so you can chat with him every day there too. Please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description, in our Instagram, TikTok profile. You go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link, or the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. We're on social media. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And boys, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC. We have an awesome weekend. We can't wait to see you on Monday. And Troy, we'll let you take it out.
Bye.